started off observing. She kept to herself her wording. She saw the need for a friend indeed to all of those deserving. She travels the world through your eyes. She listens and sometimes cries. She wants to know what makes you whole and cares without disguise. According to Leanie, she welcomes you here. A laugh, a song, sometimes a tear, a friend, a foe, a stranger. Your life story, your moments of glory. You're sad, you're happy, your dreams and no worries. She wants to know the ins and outs of all of you here. According to Leanie, according to Leanie, she welcomes you here. A laugh, a song, sometimes a tear, a friend, a foe, a stranger. Your life story, your moments of glory. You're sad, you're happy, your dreams and your worry. She wants to know the ins and outs of all of you here. According to Leanie, she wants to know what it is all about. According to Leanie, you're welcome here while we all just figure life out. So sit back and yak, smile and laugh, have a cuppa or two. Leanie is coming on right now and she welcomes you. Let's hear life according to Leanie. She started off observing. She kept to herself her wording. She saw the need for a friend indeed to all of those deserving. She travels the world through your eyes. She listens and sometimes cries. She wants to know what makes you whole and cares without disguise. According to Leanie, she welcomes you here. A laugh, a song, sometimes a tear, a friend, a foe, a stranger. Your life story, your moments of glory. You're sad, you're happy, your dreams and no worries. She wants to know the ins and outs of all of you here. According to Leanie, according to Leanie, she welcomes you here. A laugh, a song, sometimes a tear, a friend, a foe, a stranger. Your life story, your moments of glory. You're sad, you're happy, your dreams and your worry. She wants to know the ins and outs of all of you here. According to Leanie, she wants to know what it is all about. According to Leanie, you're welcome here while we all just figure life out. So sit back and yak, smile and laugh, have a cuppa or two. Leanie is coming on right now and she welcomes you. Let's hear life according to Leanie.
Hello, 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 hello. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? Everybody good? Y'all good? Did you have a good weekend? Hi, Elsie. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Hi, Pink Fan. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lizzo. Nathan. Hello, honey. Good morning to you. Wow. The The British invasion happened. Lolly, hello, honey. Good to see you. Coey, Lolo, Coey. Australians are here. Wow, you guys are so kind. Thank you so much. Nellie Joe. Hello, my friend. I'm good. I'm anxious. I'm anxious and good. I can't remember if I took any if I took my medicine earlier today because I had a big weekend. Yesterday my other granddaughter turned 16, so I was with her most of the day and we had her big 16th birthday party bash. Oh my god, you guys, I can't believe they're getting so grown. They're driving now and ruling the school and just doing their thing as beautiful young women. Thank you, Pink Fan. You get me, girl. And then I came home and I did go to sleep, but I woke up, I don't know what time, sometime the night before last night, and I ended up staying up all night because I had the scaries because I had to go back out today to my son-in-law's. He retired from the military today, you guys. 23 years in the Army. And they had his he had his retirement thing. It was really cool. You know, all those years I spent in the military, I never got to go to one of those. And oh, they honored him so beautifully. And man, talk about a swelled head. I had such a swelled head of pride. You'll know I'm a patriot, so anything that has to do with that American flag, I'm freaking whiny little thing. Hey, cowboy, how are you, honey? Good to see you. Thank you so much, Pink. He's an awesome, awesome dude. He spent 2 tours in Iraq, and he's just a great man. I'm so grateful for the men that my girls chose to marry, especially since they had a mother who was going, well, that guy's cute. Or if some guy was getting close to him or whatever, was like, marry him. He's a good guy. And they're like, no, and they didn't listen to me. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful because what they picked for themselves and what God had chosen for them is the exact person they were supposed to be with. So I'm glad they didn't listen to me. I remember Beefcake telling me a long time ago, like, because the girls got married the same year. Both my girls got married the same year. One got married in January, the other one got married that December. And my God, I remember him telling me, will you leave them girls alone? Just leave them alone. They're going to be fine. And they'll pick the right person. And when I shut up, finally, they found the right person. So that's just the truth of the matter. So when I got home today, of course, I hadn't slept in, I don't know, hours, a day maybe. I crashed. I went to bed and I just crashed. And I woke up to the most glorious thing that could ever happen for me. And that was that my dishwasher was cleaned out, because I'll do dishes and laundry and scrub toilets and do that for you all day long. But the one thing I hate to do is to unload a dishwasher. That's the truth. And I got up and I made myself some warm coffee. And when I opened up the cabinet, I knew the dishwasher had been cleaned out, because I only run it's only me and Beefcake really that use the dishes. So, I only run it once a week, because there's no need to. I'm not going to waste water like that. So Beefcake unloaded the dishwasher for me. I hate that so much. Yeah, y'all hit that like if you don't mind. I appreciate it so much. So yeah, it's been a big weekend. Little girl is, as y'all know, she's in heat. She's driving me absolutely bonkers. She's asleep right now, so hopefully I'll get a couple hours without her wanting to go in and out, in and out, in and out. In fact, the last thing Beefcake said to me when I finally got in bed this afternoon, he said, I'm just going to leave the door open. So if little girl's barking, it's not because she wants out. And if the cat is whining, it's not because, the cat acts like the damn dog. Doesn't want to use the litter box. It wants to go outside. So it'll walk back and forth in the hallway, screaming its head off until I get up and let it out. Well, then I'm up. When I'm up, I'm up. I've already had 3 cups of coffee. It was so good. I don't use a dishwasher for that reason. I don't know why. I mean, because I wash my dishes before I put them in there, and then I just put bleach in my dishwashers. In my head, I think I'm sanitizing. That's what I think I'm doing. She will be in active heat for like 10 to 13 days, as far as like the bleeding goes. And then like between the 10 and the 13th day, usually some dogs go a little bit earlier, some go a little bit later, but the theory is somewhere between their 10 and 13th day, they'll be fertile. And that's when the male dogs are just everywhere and trying to get into your house and stuff. So that will be at the end of this coming week, like Friday. I'm thinking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be the days that Newt's just going to be losing his freaking mind over her. But tomorrow, she will start going to, I'll start taking her over to my sister's house. So her and Mac can get acquainted, and, she could get you, because little girl's very, timid. She gets scared at like noises and fast movements and stuff like that. Well, she's used to my sister because my sister just comes over here, but so she's used to her. Once she's been around you once or twice, like you're just family. But she's not used to my sister's house and the comings and goings that happens over there. And then, so I'm going to start taking her over there every day starting tomorrow until she's ready to breed. And then hopefully her and Mac can get it on and we'll have us some puppies. You've never had a dishwasher. You are the dishwasher. I don't mind doing dishes. I love, love, love a clean kitchen. I'll do dishes all day. All day. How was y'all's weekend? Aussie True Crime. I watched your video of when you guys went to the cemetery, your premiere. Of course, I wasn't there for the premiere, but I watched it. I rewatched it. And first, I got to tell you, I had put it on the big screen and I had gone to the kitchen to go get something to eat. So I sit down and watch it. And I loved your music. I was like, oh my God, my name's in her music. Because at first I thought I heard Maggie. I was like, hold on, she talking about people in her music? And then I heard Gordon Delaney and I was like, oh. But I love that video with you and Spirit Time out there, Jay. I have to tell you, it just broke my heart when you were showing the graves of those people from that had been brought over from the sanitarium. Oh, just broke my heart that they didn't have a name and they just had a number. Oh man. All right, Lulu's on BRB. She's gonna restart the computer. Lolly, I had a sew day yesterday with my girlfriends. Do you sew? I can sew, but I don't sew. Anyways, I'm really, really big on names. Like I have a real problem, and this comes from me being a little girl. When my grandfather passed, he wanted to be put to sea. And so my mom was his only child, and that's what she did. She honored his wishes. And I can tell you what, I hated it. I was always so upset with her over that. And I remember telling her as I got older, that it upset me that nobody knew my grandfather's name and that it was nowhere. Like he just got erased off the map. And I know that's probably silly because, I mean, when I go to the grave, like 20 years from there, nobody's ever going to visit it. And it's just going to wash away with time too. But I mean, in my lifetime, I have nowhere to go to. I don't know. It's just the oddest thing. I want to see his name and touch. And so I told her, I said, Mom, whenever you go, I'm going to put on your tombstone, daughter of Milford Blankenship, because her mother is buried in Miami, Florida. And so, I've been to her grave. But my grandpa, I didn't, there's nowhere with her name. And she said that was fine. And then there's a whole nother story because my mom's not buried yet. My sister's not buried yet. It's a point of contention. And I keep the peace by keeping my mouth shut. But I want my mom buried. I want my sister buried. It's a real point of contention between me and my other sister, the one that y'all have heard on here, Dawn. Dawn and I we've always been the closest out of everyone in the family because we both got married so young. We both married military men, and we kind of we ended up in the same areas a lot of the time. And so we always stayed really close, whereas my sister Debbie, the one that passed, she went back to California, got married there. She also married a military man, but that was a difficult life. And my little big brother, he lives in Indiana here too, and I'm always close to him because he was always my baby growing up. But when I didn't think anything in this world could break me and my sister Dawn's bond. Nothing. Like nothing. No man, no kid, no nada, right? Hi, Wild Angel. I thought, we were solid, and we are complete polar opposites. She's in the closet still with her humor, and like everybody always thinks she's the sweet one and I'm the foul one, and that's true in many areas. And she's really easy to embarrass, which makes me even nuttier because I do my best to embarrass her. It's like all my filters go out the window when I can embarrass her. I love it so much. But she's always been, she was my mom, she was my sister, she was my best friend. She was truly my other half until my mom passed. Do y'all care if I talk about this for a minute? If you guys don't want to hear it, I won't talk about it. We'll get right into the death penalty because I want to talk about that. Is everybody going to sleep? I don't talk about this much because it's painful. And then I don't ever want to hurt my family's feelings, even though I'm hurt, but I still would rather hurt than hurt one of my family members. And so the night my mom, so then Okay, so Christmas was the last time heard my mom. I didn't see my mom on Christmas. And at the time my mom passed, she had been living with my sister Dawn for a couple of years. Mom bounced back and forth between me and my sister Dawn. And I was the last person to piss her off, so she moved in with Dawn. And then that's just where she stayed. And so like when Dawn would piss her off, she'd move back in with me. It's just the way that it went, and it was cool, and we were fine with that. Well, so she had been living with Dawn for a couple of years, and Christmas, the last time I saw my mom was Thanksgiving. And like I said, my daughter at Thanksgiving time was only like 4 weeks out of having her surgeries, right? I'm sorry, my brain just went crazy. Having her, getting a new heart and a new kidney. And so my mom hadn't seen her yet. And my mom wasn't feeling good. Well, my mom always wasn't feeling good. And so I never knew if mom just wasn't feeling good or mom was just had stayed up all night, which I didn't care what mom did, you know. But my mom I had to work the next day and after Thanksgiving, and my mom finally came out. I didn't even know my mom was coming out, you guys. My mom came out. My daughter was sitting in the living room with her, and she actually hadn't even moved into her own house yet. She was still living with me at the time. She was only out of her transplant surgeries for a month after that. And then I went in to go tell my daughter, hey, we're going to go ahead and go home. I'll see you guys at home. And my mom was sitting there. And I was like, oh, hi, Mom. Happy Thanksgiving. I went over and I hugged her and everything. She said, Dolly, she said, please sit down with me and talk to me a few minutes. Y'all could just kick my own ass, but I'm not going to go there. I was like, Mom, I said, I got to go because I mean, it was already like 12 o'clock at night. I said, Mom, I got to go. I have to work in the morning. And I had to be there at 7. It wasn't like, I was going in late. And I said, I got to work in the morning. I said, tell you what, I said, I'll come over after work tomorrow because where I worked was like 10 minutes from my sister's house. And she was like, okay. And I could tell she was kind of bummed, but I was like, I love you. And I hugged her and I was like, I hope, you start feeling better or whatever. And I left. Well, then the next day, right before I was leaving work, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I'm going to be done with work here within an hour. I'm going to come over and see you. And she's like, no, Dolly. She said, I don't feel good. Well, again, that either meant that Mom stayed up all night, which she probably did because she came out of the room like at 11:30, and which was fine with me. I mean, I didn't care. And she said, let's plan it for later this week. And I was like, okay, just let me know. Well, I had bounced in and out of my sister's house, that whole month. And every time I bounced in, my mom was in bed because it was during the day. And I knew she was sleeping. I knew she stayed up at nighttime for the most part. So I didn't ever bug her. I'd just tell my sister, tell Mom, I said, I love her to call me. So then on Christmas, like I hadn't seen my mom that whole time. My sister and I were out doing Christmas stuff, getting the family stuff together because we always spent Christmas together. Her family, my other sister's family, my brother and his family. Like it just was a big deal. And then, hi, DTR. And then, so of course, Christmas night, we go over to my sister's house. We always had dinner together and we played games. And my mom wasn't coming out. So my brother-in-law had pulled me to the side. Anytime there was anything to do with like medical or my mom's personal well-being or whatever, they would call me. And then I'd go over and I'd talk to my mom. Hi, Ann. Because it would just turn into a fight if my sister said anything to her. And so I had gotten to their house and my brother-in-law pulled me outside. I remember it was freaking freezing. And he's like, hey, I need you to talk to your mom. And I was like, what's going on? And And he said, "You need to get her in the shower. She refuses to take a shower, and she hasn't taken a shower in like days." I was like, "Okay, I'll get her bathed tonight before I leave. No big deal." Right? So we had dinner and everything was good, and I started noticing it was getting later and later, and mom wasn't coming in there. So I picked up her gift from underneath the tree. I had bought her my mom's favorite color was purple, and I bought her some jammies. And I thought, I'll go get these to mom, and then I'll get her in the shower, and put on her nice comfy jammies. Everybody's gonna be happy. It's gonna be good. Right. And so I knocked on her bedroom door and she didn't answer. And then I knocked harder and she was like, "Who is it?" And I said, "It's me, Mom." And she said, "Oh, Dolly," she said, "please just go away. I don't feel good." And I thought, you bitch. You're gonna come out here in an hour and you're gonna want me to sit with you. I gotta be to work. And I was ticked off. Um, because I would rather just be told, "I'm tired. I stayed up all freaking night." That's what I do. So I was like, "Okay, Mom." I was like, "You're missing Christmas. All your grandkids are here, your great grandkids. We're all here." And she's like, "I'm sorry, honey. I just don't feel good." She said, "Call me tomorrow." Okay. We've been down this road before. So I was a little shitty and I was like, "Okay, Mom, Merry Christmas." And I didn't, I remember that night. I forgot to say, she didn't say Dolly that night through the door. She said, "Darlene, I don't feel good." She said, um, "I'm not coming out," or whatever. And I should have known when she called me Darlene that I should have gone straight in because she never called me that. Never, ever, 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 ever. And I just didn't think because I was in my own feels and pissed off. And y'all, that was the only time my mother ever turned me away from her bedroom door. She was always like, "Come on in." And then I just crawl up in bed with her and lay there with her and talk. And she didn't. She just told me to go away. She didn't feel good. And I was like, "Okay." So I came back out, you guys. I'm not kidding you. I chucked that gift, that wrapped gift, into my sister's tree. And my kids, all of that generation kids was in there. My sister's children, my brother's children, they all just started laughing. And then my kid, of course, the smart ass one goes, "What's wrong, Mom? Did ma'am all tell you couldn't come in?" Just joking, because that's not what she does. And I was like, "Well, yes, she did." I was like, "So I'll be back tomorrow to give her a damn present." So then I ended up hanging out a little while late, and then I ended up leaving. Well, the next day was the 26th, and I called to see my mom. My mom was still in bed. And I was like, "All right, I'll just call tomorrow and see if she's going to be up." So I didn't see my sister. I didn't see my mom that day. That was the 26th. And I got home. Well, Beefcake was supposed to have a procedure done on the 27th at 6 o'clock in the morning. He was supposed to be at the hospital. So I knew I had that going on. But then I got a text message from my sister, and it said that she was going to the hospital because she was having trouble. She had been sick. She was having trouble breathing or whatever. And I was like, "All right, you dumbass, go to," because she gets pneumonia really fast and easy. And so I was like, "Go to the hospital, get your meds, whatever." And I was like, and she was scared. She was really scared that time, which was weird. And I didn't tell her that Beefcake had an appointment. I was just like, "Do you need me to come to the hospital?" She said, "Well, if it's bad, I will, if you don't mind, if you'll come up here." And I was like, "Yeah, of course." So I didn't tell her, "Look, I got to be up," because if she needed me, she needed me, right? So I was, I waited up and I went in there and I laid down on my bed and I got a text message from her. And she didn't call me, and I didn't think nothing of it at the time, but she didn't call me. She sent me a text message that said, "I'm headed home from the hospital. I don't have pneumonia. I've got bronchitis. They've got me my medicine. I'm going home, going to bed." And I was like, "That's great." I was like, "I love you. I'll call and check in on you tomorrow." So I climbed in bed, got underneath the covers and stuff. And I'm not kidding you, I wasn't asleep yet, and I got a phone within 30 minutes, that phone started ringing, and you know how you just know? I mean, it's already 2 o'clock in the morning, and I just knew, and then when I saw that it was my sister, I knew, and I answered the phone, and she told me that, the paramedics were there and about my mom, and, anyway, so all that happened, I won't get into all that, but all that happened, and then we all got to the hospital, mom passed, whatever, I went back to my sister's house and started making calls to everybody and doing the stuff that, you have to do. Well, then I found out that this was the hard part of for me, like, when I told you guys that I stayed in the pissed off stage for a really, really long time, and it was at my sister because I had found out that, uh, she texted me to tell me she was fine, and I was up all night, but she called her best friend who lives in Cincinnati. So when she walked in and found my mom, she was on the phone with her best friend in Cincinnati telling her about the hospital visit. If and I held that against her. Sometimes I still do, it comes and it goes. That if she had just texted her best friend and called her sister, who's me, then I would have been on the phone with her when they found my mom. And y'all, I mean, I stayed pissed off. I cut everybody from my life, even her. I didn't want anything to do with anybody anymore. I didn't. I just wanted my kids, grandkids, and beefcake. That was it. I cut everybody. Her, her whole family, all my nieces and nephews, my brother, his whole family, my other sister, her whole family. I mean, I just was like, I'm not having. After we had the little funeral for my mom, and there were plenty of family members that came in, I knew at that funeral that I would not ever speak to anybody again. That I just could not deal with family anymore. That was it. Because I felt like that I was closer to her than obviously she was me, because if it was me that was in that hospital, I would have called her and told her before I ever told Beefcake anything that was going on. She was my person. And at that point, I realized I wasn't her person. So I think the green monster of jealousy got to me. But at the same time, I was like, you fucking cunt. If you were as close to me as I am to you, I would have been on that phone when you found my mom. And you made me, I mean, it's bad enough I wasn't there with my mom, but it's the oddest thing. Anyways, so that was all unexpected. We ended up back at the same damn hospital room my sister was in when she was there. Anyhow, I held that for a long time. Our middle sister that's in between me and Dawn passed away 13 months after my mom did, basically kind of the same way my mom passed. Um, and that's what brought me uh, back around. Like I I struggled still, but I knew. I was like, "Oh my god." I mean, my sister was only 54 years old, and I was 52, and I was like, I gotta get my shit together. Like, these are my siblings. This is all I've got left of my mom's family, is because my mom had 2 living sisters, and because they chose not to come up here for my mother's funeral or anything because they had a problem. Whatever, fuck you. I haven't talked to, well, one of them's passed since, and so there's one painted lady left, and I haven't talked to her since, after I told her what I thought about her for not coming to my mother's funeral. But anyways, I just realized that if I could not have relationships with people, that I had to figure out a way. to have a relationship with Dawn and my brother and their kids again. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know because the longer you go, the harder you get. I don't know if you realize that or if you felt the same way, but like I got really, really hard. My heart got really hard and couldn't stand anybody. Just it made me so sick. So when it was time to plan, we had to do something for mom. And I'm just remembering mom's words. And I just thought it was shit that us four kids were all sitting there and this wasn't supposed to happen. Like my daughter's out of surgery at this point, 9 weeks out of surgery, my mother leaves. And I thought after about a month after my daughter out of her surgeries, hi, Mac J. I thought, oh God, I can breathe again. Like life's going to be okay for a little while. I just felt like this huge weight off of me. Like I had nothing really scary to worry about. And then my mom checks out, and that's the way I looked at it. Like she was just like, I'm done. And then my sister checked out, and I just felt like, God, what a freaking kick in the teeth. And I never got mad at God, but I just couldn't understand what was happening in my life and why um, all this crazy stuff was happening and why I had to live with so much anxiety um, and depression and stuff. And I couldn't why, because out of all my mom's kids, like I'm the only one that has the anxiety and depression, right? And I was like, this is just crazy. Like, God, I'm the one that deals with this stuff on a daily freaking basis. And yet I'm the one that's got the sick kid. And you know what I mean? And losing my mom and my sister. Like, as soon as you give me this humongous blessing that my daughter's going to live, these two just leave. And not that I just couldn't understand it. And I had to come full circle with that too. But so when Debbie left, when I knew I had to figure it all out. And not that I would ever understand anything that happened that night or with my sister. I just had to be okay knowing it all happened and that I would never know and that my sister would never know how much she had hurt me or whatever, and I couldn't talk about it. So then when it was time for all of us to go and make my mother's arrangements, my mom had nothing. My mom was 72 years old. My sisters and my brother and I had all talked about we should probably make arrangements for mom through the years. We could just like go in and start paying little by little. That way, whenever it does happen, like none of us have to worry about it. But life gets in the way, right? You got kids, you got grandkids, you need that $10 for something else, just never seemed. And we talked to mom about it. Mom was like, that's fine. It just never seemed like anybody had any money to to make my mom's arrangements ahead of time. So when it came time, we were like, "Ah, shit, what do we do?" Well, my brother's on SSI because, of his accident. My sister Debbie, unfortunately, was strung out. Dawn and I had a job, uh, always worked, but I had bills and my sister, she babysat, she had money, but bills, but none of us had $4,000 or $5,000, to bury my mom. And I just looked at that man across the table who was sitting there giving, we looked at all the caskets on a slide and then what we could do and all this. And all I see is dollar signs, dollar signs. And I was like, well, how does this work? Like, are you going to take like a $500 down payment and then we're going to pay this off? And he's like, no, you have to pay up front. And I was like, do what? And he said, yeah. He said, everything, you have to make your plans for your mom's services now and all of the money's due up front. And I was like, Oh my God, when did that happen? I didn't know that happened. I didn't know anything about that. So, then you start taking shit away, right? Like, okay, we don't need all those programs. It was state law that we had to put it in the paper that my mom passed. Like, not a whole big obituary, but her name and that she had passed. It was a state law. That was $15. And I know you think, oh, it's only $15. Yeah, but when you're looking at buying a casket and a plot and all this, oh my God, it was terrible. And I was like, what do you people do with deceased people that come in here and they're worse off than us four are? And he said, the state takes control of the body and they cremate them and then they bury them. And I was like, for the love of God, I could not believe what all I was hearing, you guys. I don't know if you guys know about all this, but if you don't, you need to know. So my mother had told me for years and years and told all of us kids that she wanted to be cremated. And I was like, negative, it's not happening. Sorry. I can't live with that. And she was like, but it's not up to you. I was like, no, really, it is up to me because I'm the one that has to live without you. So funerals are not for the dead, they're for the living. How do we get through it? I was like, I would never tell my kids what to do with my body when they're the ones that have to live with it. So I was like, it's not happening, Mom. Sorry. Suck it. And I'll be damned. In the end, we had a cremator. Pissed me off. Because we had to go the cheapest route, right? So I begged my sister, Dawn, because like I said, we're polar opposites in every way. Every way. The way we live, the way that we have the same morals, values, things like that. We were raised the same. But I'm just saying, like, she hangs on to things and I'm throwing things away and I'm get on the road or I used to be go even worse than I am now. And she used to didn't like to go anywhere. She'd like to stay in her house. And it was just we were just so different. And I told her because we didn't have the money to do anything more than what we did. So we had to cremate Mom. And then my older sister said, well, I want Mom to come home. And I was like, well, of course, that's where she lived. That's where she'll go. And I was like, look, you have to promise me you won't hoard my mother. Don't hoard my mom. And she's like, I promise I won't. I was like, don't stick her in a closet on a shelf somewhere. I was like, don't do it. And she said, I won't. And I said, and by the year 20, because my mom passed on the 27th of 2018. And I said, by 2020 on Mother's Day, Mom has to be buried. And she said, okay. I said, that means that all of us got to get aboard. I was talking to all my siblings and I was like, we all got to get aboard. Everybody, I don't care if you can only put $10 a week into it. I'll put whatever I can. I said, and that'll give us, a year and a half to get Mom buried. I feel like that's enough time to get it together. Because we don't need a whole plot now. Now we just need, the plot the size of a box. And so everybody agreed. Well, then fucking COVID hit, So that stopped everything. And then my sister died a month after shutdown. So now we have my sister's ashes with my mom's ashes at my sister's house. And I go through stages where I did yesterday. Yesterday, I thought too much on it about my mom being over there and my sister over there at my other sister's house on a shelf in the bedroom, probably dust on her. And I thought, I'm going to go over there and demand my mother to come home with me. I'm just as much as her next of kin. What the hell am I going to do? Because here's the deal. I've talked to my surviving siblings and I've been, look, we need to get Mom buried. I can't handle not seeing Mom's name. I can't handle not having a place to go, and I'm not going into your bedroom to talk to my mother. or my sister for that matter. And I said, I want them both put together in the freaking ground together, and I want their names on a freaking plaque where I could see it. Well, then now we deal with, so my sister's husband ended up dying a year after her from COVID. And he wanted him and my sister to be buried together. So his kids have got his ashes. Dawn's got my other sister's ashes. And I'm like, look, get with his freaking kids. I mean, this was in 2021 now. We're in 2025. And my sister passed in 2020. My mom passed in 2018. And I'm just like, look, find out from the kids if they're ready to bury their dad, because I understand that Debbie might have wanted to be buried with her husband and that her husband wanted her to be buried with him, but they're not the ones living here. I'm the one living here, and I'm tormented by this. So I've talked a couple times about it as nicely as I can, and I feel like I've done it nice. If I was a real bitch, I'd tell you I was a real bitch because I don't mind mentioning it. But like, it hits me at least once a week where I'm just like, son of a bitch, I'm going to get my mom. Because I'm not the next of kin to my sister. I'm just not. But I could take her and go bury my mom right now. I could go do it right now, but it'll cause problems. And so I'm just stuck. And it sucks so freaking bad. And I don't know why I told you guys that. Hello, Jovel. Good to see you, sister. I hope you're well. So, yeah, that happened yesterday. And so I've been having the scaries and in a funk ever since. It feels like I go through that about once a week, and then it takes me like a couple days to get over it, to start it again. Isn't that crazy? And I don't know. I mean, maybe there just feels like there's not a finality to anything. It's just there. And there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing. Because in order to do something about it, I'll end up hurting my sister. So, what can you do? What can you do? I don't know. Sorry about that, y'all. I just put it out there. I don't even know where to go from here. I shouldn't have talked about all that. When I worked in the profession, some family members chose to just purchase a memorial, just a plaque in a wall or a garden or a cemetery. Place to go and remember and to show that person was once here. Well, I do have, I have a rock, a nice size rock. It doesn't have my mom's name on it, but it talks about the passing of someone. And I made a garden at my other house for my mom. That was before my sister passed. That was during COVID, or before COVID. I made a garden, and then when my sister passed, I went out to that garden and I put more flowers in it for her, and I had purple hydrangeas in it for my mom. So when my sister passed, I put blue because that was my sister's favorite color, and then I planted a lot of forget-me-nots. But then when I moved out here to this place, I never planted another one, but I still have the rock. Ashes don't have to be interned, but I want them interned. I mean, so many ashes, you guys, are lost. I mean, imagine if something happens to the rest of us and the ashes. I I mean, well, I know my kids and my sister's kids would definitely want to bury my mom and my sister, and they wouldn't just throw the ashes out, but a lot of people do. Reading a new course I have for 3 weeks starting today, so I have to get ready and love. Oh, I love you, Nathan. Have a good day, honey. Good luck to you. Your brother has all your dad's ashes and won't give me any of them. Yeah, it's hard, right? It's really hard. I have to go do things. It's crazy Monday here. Have a good day, Anne. Good to see you. Most funeral homes I worked in had dozens of uncontrolled ashes in the storeroom. Yeah, you know what? I was watching something on that in one of the cemeteries in California, they have vaults, with, believe it or not, some actors and actresses in it, you guys, that have never been claimed. Never been claimed. They're just in there. It's crazy. I have my brother and sister's ashes. I can't part with any of them. See, I think that's the way my sister feels Aussie True Crime instead of just coming out and saying it to me. I think that's the way she feels. She just can't part with them now. And I don't believe, because there were some people that, like, whenever my sister died, her husband pretty much just left it up to me and Dawn to do everything because he was just a mess. And COVID didn't only let us three go in there and spend any time with my sister anyways. We couldn't have a funeral. And he was like, her kids, which were all living in different states, they were talking about, if they could get some of her ashes. And me and my sister just looked at each other and we were like, well, how do you feel about that? And he's like, I don't have a problem either way. And then we were like, well, we have a problem. Nobody gets to take ashes, and that was the one thing that to me, it's like taking a finger from my mother or my sister. And I'm like, no, nobody gets any ashes here. They all stay together. And I know some people don't feel that way. But for me, it was like, no, 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 we're not splitting mom up. Not splitting Debbie up. At the cemeteries I worked at, we would send letters over a year. If not collected, we'd scatter them in the cemetery. Well, I think that's really nice, actually. Um, my sister's mother-in-law, she didn't want to be buried. So they have this garden-like place. It's got a tree and it's got these, like, I think 4 pipes coming out of the ground. There's a hole in the ground and you could pour the ashes in there and then their name goes up on a plaque. Um, I don't know. I guess that's just law that you're not supposed to scatter ashes unless you get a permit to do it. Um, most people don't worry about that though. They do it, but I almost I don't know. Sometimes I think that would be a beautiful thing, but then having my mom and sister just blowing in the wind somewhere, I'm just like, "Oh, shit, I can't deal." That's what I want to do with my dad, my brother won't allow it. Wow. And he won't bury him? That's crazy. Is he the oldest? 'Cause, like, yeah. You're not supposed to cross state lines either it's against the law to cross state lines with even ashes here in the States. And the summer after my mom passed, I told my sister I was coming to get my mother and I was taking her on vacation, and I meant that. I was gonna She's like, "What the hell are you gonna do?" And I was like, "I'm gonna strap the box into a box in the back seat. I'm gonna go visit some places mom liked to go. I'm gonna go on a road trip." And she's like, "No, you're not. It's against the law." Um, and she does care that it's against the law, but I think she more cares because my sister's is very controlling. Very controlling. No, what? Is he not the oldest, or if he's not the oldest, why did he get the ashes? But see, I know me. If I had my mother's ashes or my sister's ashes or both, they'd be up like on the mantle or something. Oh, he's older. Okay. Well, is there any plan? I mean, what's the plan like after he passes? That's what I'm curious about. Like, if you want to keep ashes, that's fine, I reckon, but is what happens after you're gone? I mean, is it in the will to pass down the ashes? I mean, what happens at that point? I don't know. I don't know. I just wish I really wish that if you chose cremation, that I don't think it should cost money to inter them. Like, I think like, to put, um, my brother-in-law's mom in the ground the way that they do, where they pour the ashes down there into this, like, barrel thing with a bunch of other ashes. I don't think that should cost money. I mean, we have got, thousands and thousands of acres of these landfills, and yet we're charging to disperse, um, cremated ashes. I mean, that don't make any sense. My brother is too, and I won't have anything to do with him anymore. Is that when you guys quit talking, DT? Hmm. Yeah, my mom didn't either. I don't know. I mean, if my sister had not passed, then I still to this day don't think I'd be talking to anybody because that's the only thing that brought me out of that, and I still struggle sometimes, but for the most part, I'm okay. I just don't put myself out there anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I really protect myself from being hurt. I try to. I have a huge wall up, and even when it comes to beefcake, you're not allowed to hurt me. You're not. And if I see that coming, like, bam, close off. I'll cut you off that quick. Digital maniac. Hello, sweetheart. How are you? Good to see you. All right, guys, I'm going to grab me another coffee. I think it should be free. I mean, you're taking up nothing. Zero. I don't know. I think we got it whacked out what we do in this country. I really do. Got it whacked out. It's cray cray. I'm gonna get me a coffee, you guys, if you want one. Come on over. I'll make you a coffee. I'm gonna make me a coffee, and when I come back, I want to talk about the death the death penalty. And the reason is because um there's a couple cases, you guys. I don't know if you guys follow the death penalty in the states or in your countries, if you guys have them or not. But there's a couple of cases that are coming up uh, for death. A couple people that are coming up on the end of their time, and also the Brian Koberger thing. Uh, they're seeking the death penalty on him, holding you to it, cream or no sugar. Wild Angel, I can make that like nobody's business. That's the way I drink it. And then I want to show you guys the very first person that I ever watched from that I understood what the death penalty was and what was happening and why it was happening, and the questioning that I had to do with myself to if I was okay with this or not okay with this, and with the death penalty. I want to show you guys that and see if you guys have heard this one about this case. And so let me go grab my coffee really quick, and then we'll get into that. And I'm curious what you guys think about it. No wrong or right. I'm going to drop the link. You're welcome to come up and let's talk about it. Lizzo said, my mom has written everything down that she wants for her funeral. She doesn't want us to cream with her after the service. Like hell, she's going on her own. She doesn't want us going to, the cram with her after the service. Oh, I understand that. I understand that. And you know what? Had I known, I did not know at the time, and they didn't tell me this at the time. I think I'm going to go punch him in the face. I had no clue that I was allowed to go to the crematorium with my mom and be there when she was being cremated, because I would have. I actually would have asked to be the one to put her in it. Because so when mom passed, I asked the doctor, I was like, look, what is there anything viable on her that we can donate? And she said, does she have it on her driver's license? I said, she doesn't have a driver's license anymore. And she already knew about my daughter having gotten, organs donated to her. And she said, let me call the team up here and they will evaluate your mom and we'll let you know. So, anyways, my mother was able to donate her skin and her some of her bone. I think the bone in her arm. And the skin was going to burned victims, because what they do is, like, when victims get really, really burnt all over their bodies, they take human skin and they lay it on them. And that human skin is still alive, and it actually helps their skin to grow back. And then they can also use it for skin grafting and stuff like that. So I knew my mom would, I knew that would be good for her. So, or that she would want that. And so I didn't leave the hospital until they told me, yeah, they came down. They said that she's, that they could take this. And I was like, okay, what's next? And she said, well, they're bringing an ambulance over. They're going to take them to their procurement center, where they procure all of, whatever they're going to take. I was so scatterbrained at everything that we needed to do that I didn't even think that my mom was actually leaving that hospital until like hours later, when the procurement team and the donation, the donors places were calling me and to get me to sign off over the phone everything. And I was like, wait a minute, wait. I was like, where's my mom? And they said, we've got her here at our, at our facilities in Indy at procurement center. And I was like, okay. And my brain was everywhere. I was having to sign papers over the phone for them to do this. And then from there, then the funeral home was going to pick her up from there. And then come to find out the funeral home that we were having her memorial at, my mom wasn't even at that one because they don't keep bodies there. They had her in Indy. So y'all, when I found out all this was going on, I was like, the hell is I called the funeral home that was, and I was supposed to have a call when the funeral home picked up my mother from the procurement center and taken her to the funeral home, and I didn't get one, or I might have missed it. I don't remember. So I called the funeral home, and they were like, yeah, she was picked up so and so. They sent you a message. I saw the message. I did get one. And I was like, so when can I come in and see her? And they were like, oh, she's not here. She's at our sister, whatever, in Indy, because we don't keep the bodies here. And I was like, what is going on? I said, I said, when I lived in Germany for 6.5 years, I could tell you where my mother was at. I said, I have gone through a day and a half of not knowing where my mom is at. I was like, somebody's going to tell me. I want to know where her body's at right now. I need an address. Hi, Gia. And they said, okay. And I was like, I'm not going to see my mom. I'm not going to go up there and cause any problems. I was like, but damn, she's still my mom. I want to know where my mother's at. So they gave me the address, and I didn't go up there, but I still needed to know. Here my mom had been. I was like, you take her out of this hospital, you send her procurement center, and then you pick her up, and I think she's going here, but she really goes over there. I was like, that's still my mom. Can't do that. It was the oddest thing. All right. I'm going to go get some coffee. I'll BRB, and then let's get into this really quick. BRB, guys.
Yeah. This is a smoke break song, or it might be a coffee song. Just everyone sing along. Go and take a pee. This is a smoke break song. Lunch lady's smoke break song. She doesn't write them to be alone. That's just the way it's gonna be. So what are y'all into? Hey Richie, have you drank a few? I drank a few too, back in '93. This is a Pete dance song. Everybody better be getting on. Sit on the pot and pee, even if you have a wee. This is the beefcake song. He needs coffee for his drive to be gone from the house so he can make some money. This is an Aussie song. Everyone just sing along. We'll sing Hey True Blue and greet with the cooey. This is a British song. It's a quite proper song. We will all go mad unless you sing along. Okay, that's long enough for our professional smoker. Come back to your chat. Great host Leanie. Hotbox that cigarette. Your song is over yet? My words I'm starting to forget because we don't ever sleep. Hit the like chicken, LL Cool Mom out. I'll be one ticking, LL Cool Mom out. Come on. Everyone just sing along. We'll sing Hey True Blue and greet with the cooey. This is a British song. It's a quite proper song. We will all go mad unless you sing along. Okay, that's long enough for our professional smoker. Come back to your chat. Great host leading. Hot box that cigarette. Your song is over yet? My words I'm starting to forget because we don't ever sleep. Hit the like chicken, LL Cool Mom out. I'll be one ticking, LL Cool Mom out.
Cloudbox. That's the only words I'm starting to forget because we don't ever sleep. Hit the like chicken. LL Cool Mom. Out. Whoa, come on.
Yeah. This is a smoke break song.
Alrighty. Y'all doing okay? Everybody good? I'm gonna drop the link if anybody wants to come up. You're welcome to. Gia, how you doing, honey? I'm doing the best through a situation is getting out of my hands, still working on my survival. Oh, Gia, God bless you, honey. I wish you the best. I hate to see people going through things, especially when it's out of your control. I mean, and I'm a controlling person when it comes to my life. I have to be in control at all times, or else I freak out. So there's the StreamYard. If anybody wants to take it, come up with me. You're welcome to. Yeah, I hope everything works out. Whatever's going on, Gia, I hope it works out, honey, and it will, one way or the other. Wild Angel,
Well, good morning and hello.
what are you doing, girl?
Just on my weird sleep schedule once again.
Yep, it sucks. I
I
talked to my
know, right?
parents in Georgia, and I had missed their call, of course, because I was asleep. I called them back, and I was like, "I'm so over this shit," and I'm really starting to believe that it's just because I'm not working full time.
Yeah, I gotta get myself back on track too and get a little bit more busy because it just seems like it. Because then you like, I don't know, the way that you like the energy is different than when you're just sitting around the house doing chores and laundry and all that boring shit. You know, like it's different. You like feel more rewarded. I don't know. It seems like you exhaust yourself enough to be able to rest longer.
Mm,
I don't
yeah.
know. At least I try. The dogs come out sometimes and tell me I'm falling asleep in the chair. That little one will come over and make the most strangest noises I've ever heard come out of a dog. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. He wants us to go lay down.
What do you think about the death penalty?
I think that I'm okay with it as long as it's that a person feels really completely for sure that that person's completely guilty. Like, you know what I mean? I'd hate to say it'd be good for every case because there's too many that end up not being like, you know, shit's been missed or people find out later they're not, you know, I wonder how many people have died, you know, that way that weren't even guilty. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the only thing that bothers me about that, really. But for the most part, it's good.
Would you say that what do you think is conducive for the death penalty?
Pretty much half the stuff we've been seeing going on, really. To be honest
God,
with
it's
you,
so much, and it's the same
I'm
shit over
overwhelmed.
and over.
I'm overwhelmed by how many things just keep happening. But
Yeah,
I mean,
and
definitely those people that are just out there purposefully killing people, maybe people that had something happen and it was accidental. That's not the same kind of a situation, but I definitely
right,
think that when you're out there just, you know, mowing people down and doing stuff like that, it's get out of there. They need to go.
right. So, have you ever watched a case like go through the process of the appeals and all of that and the clemencies and all of that, and then, you know, sat in front of the TV and watched it, you know, until it was over? Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I remember the first one I ever did watch. And ever since then, I have been consumed with it because I believe in it. And I think the reason why I was consumed with it because it was the first time as an adult it was presented to me. and
Right.
from the TV, and questioned my parents, and then, for myself, I have to be right with it. And then I was like, well, what does God say about this? And is it biblical? Should we be, because there's,
Right.
different scriptures, an eye for an
This
eye,
is
and
true.
then there's, that you forgive 7 times 7. And so then I had to figure out what was morally right and what was more. And now I'm just a freaking hard ass. And I'm like, oh, it hurts. Does it hurt to die? I'm sorry. I have zero compassion when it
Right.
comes to knowing for sure that this has caused the most heinous deaths. I have zero compassion.
Right.
Zero. I can't even try to. I can't even, and I can talk myself into some feelings, but I can't talk myself into feeling bad for these. I mean, I don't care. I don't care if they struggled being put to death. What do I care? I mean,
Right.
and
Well, I
and I,
mean, honestly, if I was that kind of person and I did something horrific, I wouldn't want to be alive anyway. Because, I mean, being in prison, that's torture too in its own way. So, and some people say, well, is it better for them to go through that hell every day? A lot of families would rather have them suffer like they have to every day, opposed to them just getting out of it quick like that and doing the death penalty. So I guess that's, there's that part too.
yeah, but is
Things that
prison
were
okay? Let's just be real. Is prison really that difficult? Do you know there are people that can't live outside of prison walls?
well, I know, right?
They want to go back.
No, I mean it's not, but it is because I mean there's a lot of messed up stuff that goes on really everywhere. So
Well, I think it has to be an act of the guards, like when Jeffrey Dahmer obviously was killed. That was an act. The guards knew. I believe the
they
guards
knew
knew it
that,
was
that
going to
somebody was
happen.
gonna. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the most part, they're kept separate. They're kept safe. And
Which I mean, maybe they shouldn't allow that, but then at the same time, they can't have all that unrest going on, even though it does.
yeah, I saw something on the tubes that, because that Mangione guy who shot that person in New York City,
Right.
the healthcare person, whatever. Anyways,
CEO guy. Yeah.
And he's got he's got rights to the internet, and he's got a fan base going.
Oh wow. I totally don't understand why people do that because that I remember back in the day when you heard of crimes, there wasn't people on no fan mail list.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and look
Where'd
at
the common sense go?
yeah,
Jeez.
and then look at all these people, you guys, like Susan Smith, who killed both of her boys,
Mhm.
years and years ago. I mean, she's been sleeping. She's not losing any sleep over there in the jailhouse. She's getting plenty of lovin's. And sure, does she want out because she could go to McDonald's whenever she wants to? Yeah, I'm sure. But she's made the best of her life. She's getting plenty of sex. She's got boyfriends. They're putting money on her books. She's fallen in love on the internet. And she just,
So basically, what you're saying is that they're still living their life even in prison, and other people, so the families are suffering, and they're not necessarily all suffering. So you're more opposed to them just being taken out and being done with
absolutely.
it.
Because
Okay, that makes sense.
I know for me, if I had to go through, DT says, I watched a live YouTube where Libby's grandma spoke out for the first time, and it was sad. Yeah, I watched it too. She's done 2 interviews so far, and I watched one the latest one last night that she did. And I'm going to tell you what, it pisses me off. It really pisses me off to see people YouTubers still putting out bullshit about him being innocent.
Right.
It just pisses me off because there's so
As bad
much.
as the Murdoch case.
Yeah, it just
It really
pisses
is.
me off. So, I mean, these people aren't listening to the right people. Go listen to the families. Go listen
Right,
to them.
exactly.
Nobody knows it like them. But for me, I know that if it was one of my family members, if it was one of my kids, you better kill him before I kill him, because I would go to jail for killing somebody.
Right.
Um, and if you get them, I'm gonna want the death penalty. I don't want to pay $5 for you to live on this earth at all.
Right.
And it's our taxes that are feeding these people.
The prison systems and
Mhm.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a problem with that. Liza says prison is no punishment. They get 3 meals a day.
3 hots
A
in a
roo-
cot.
yeah, and a roof over their heads, etc. How is it punishment? Bring back your hard. Yeah,
It
I've
isn't.
all,
I
and
mean, they
that's
go by the fact that their freedoms are taken away, but that's not really true because they've created different things in prison where it's almost like a city inside.
that's exactly right.
You
I
know.
don't know. For me, if it's a federal prison, if it's a hardcore prison, like these people did some shit, um, I they would eat whatever they grew. That's just for me.
Right.
That's the truth. I would definitely have them working for their own food. Sure, I bring a mama pig in and put some chickens in there and shit, and make it work. Make it work.
Right.
Make your pigs have kids, so you've got bacon. Get you some eggs. If you kill them, guess what? You're not getting that. Go over there and plant you some lettuce. Listen, we make it it's too appealing. There's a lot of people that are let out of prison, they reoffend so they could go back to prison because they don't know how to live in this world. Um, Lolly says, I don't see how lawyers can defend some when they are
I
obviously
couldn't.
are guilty. Me
I
either.
wouldn't be able to sit there near them. I mean,
Yeah.
it would creep me out. There's no way.
And you know what's funny about that was uh if you pull up, I know we're doing the Koberger case on Wednesdays, but I've been reading a lot of the things that have come out of the court rulings and motions, excuse me.
Right.
And do you know that after the prosecution went in and cleared his apartment, got out everything they wanted out of the apartment, then the defense went back in and do you know what they took?
Hmm.
The smart TV. Why would a defense go in and take somebody's smart TV out of their house?
Because somebody realized there could be something connected to something else and they don't want it found and nobody thought about it but them at the time.
Correct.
It's a personal thing.
And did you know that is called client lawyer privilege, and they never have to disclose what was on that TV?
Right. And they knew that
Never.
because he studied stuff. He knows what's going on.
Well, there was a girl that I told you guys about that before, that she she complained that somebody had been in her house her
Right.
apartment like twice, and he went in and put her privacy cams or security cams. Makes you wonder, did he hook that security cam up to his house, his smart TV? Did he put an app in it where he could sit there and watch her?
Right.
I mean,
Well,
there's a reason why they took it before anybody else thought to, hey, shit, we should have gotten the smart TV, because there's no telling what apps are on it, right?
right.
And that could have and then I also heard there's a prosecutor that I follow, and he said, look, they're gonna do more motions on it, but he said they know they're sunk. They know they're gonna get a guilty verdict. He's way guilty. And, he said I just want to tell you guys, don't be surprised if he takes a plea. Y'all, I will be so shitty. You hear me? I will be shitty if that boy takes a plea. I will be shocked.
Right. So will the families, I'm sure. For
Mhm.
sure. But at the same time, I still feel like Not that necessarily there was someone else other than him involved in that part of it, but I still think that the other roommates that I'm really interested in that part of it. I want to know what the hell they were doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's always ached on me. It's always bugged me. And because I just know that even in the most terrifying things I've ever been through, you're trying to get to help as fast as you can or get somebody help as fast as you can. There's no, whether you've had a drink or two or whatever. I mean, it's a shock factor, yeah, but I don't think the way they describe that part of the case is very clear. It's very like I don't know. They've left too
Well,
much out.
I think as adults, it's hard for us to understand because we're all
Right.
parents and we're all going, oh shit, I'd be like, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, we're not these 20, 19, 20, 21-year olds, that were in that house
Right.
and probably higher than a kite and drunk and all this other stuff,
Right.
who
I just
knows?
want to hear
And
more
it's,
what they have to say,
yeah,
about it.
it's definitely gonna come out as long as he doesn't take a plea.
I
If he
just know
takes a
that they
plea, we're
can't tell
screwed.
us. They couldn't tell us before now because they have to protect those people. And I understand that. And so that's why that part of information hasn't been able to, it's got to wait till the trial, but it's just hard to be like, you'll think about it once in a while. It's like, what was
Yeah,
going on in that house for so long?
right.
And
And
why
I
were there
think,
other people called over there, like before the police ever arrived? Why were there there was a lot going on.
yeah, I think we're all gonna be like, oh, that makes sense because that's the way it was now with the stuff coming um out of the Delphi case. I knew that, I mean, because there were still so many unanswered questions, and now that stuff is starting to come out of the trial, it's
Right.
like, now it makes a little bit more sense. So all y'all that are still
Right.
saying homeboy is is not guilty, I'm gonna need you just to go and watch Becky Patty's interviews. Do I ever watch Emily D. Baker? I do. I like her a lot. I like her a lot. Um, so we know that Idaho, they've made it legal again for the firing squad, you guys. And if things come to pass the way that they might, Brian Koberger might be the first person to go before a firing squad. And
Unless he takes the deal.
unless he takes the plea,
Fuck.
right?
And I guess
And
if you knew that was coming, you probably would, wouldn't you? Holy shit. I don't know.
I mean, on one hand, I'm saying no. I think he's just too. He's got too much ego to do that.
Right.
And he's got a really. I don't like Ann Taylor, but she's gotten somebody off of a murder case before. He's got a really good lawyer. The
Right.
problem
I wonder
is
how he's affording that, though. I've always wondered that.
oh,
How is he affording that?
that's he's not affording it. That's a public defender,
Oh, okay.
which
Well,
makes me even more angry because
right.
I couldn't be a public defender. I'd be like, Your Honor, he's fucking guilty. You would not believe what homeboy told me that
Take him away.
happened that night. It would be terrible. I would be
Yeah.
terrible. But I want to show you guys um what was the first death row case that, and maybe you guys have heard of this. You probably have. What is the first death row case that I ever really understood what was going on? And I had to make my decision and really do my research so that whatever comes out of my mouth, I can back up. You know what I mean? So let's pull this up. Let's see. Make it big. I don't know if you guys have heard of Carla Faye Tucker. She was executed in Texas. Now, mind you, when I started watching this, I was watching Court TV. This was before YouTube, all that other shit, right? Before Facebook, any of that stuff. So I was watching Court TV on it. And And the first thing I saw was her, like, right before she was executed, and she was going through all these appeals and stuff. She only had like 2 days left to live. And she's a Christian and she talks so sweetly and just, I thought, oh my God, she's so beautiful and so sweet. Why would we do that to her? Don't kill her. And then I was like, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. A minute. Now they had the internet at that time. So then I went a looking. And y'all, I was like, oh. So everybody finds Jesus on death row pretty much. All right, I gotcha. And then um I saw what she did and I was like, oh my gosh. Y'all, I'm telling you, you're gonna find this funny that I say it, but I believe this wholeheartedly. I think if you have done some kind of heinous crime, it is truly a gift to be given the death penalty. And here's why. Unless something happens and you die before, you know around the time of your death, you've got time if you want to make it right. You've got time to get right with God if that's what you choose to do, or whatever God you choose to worship. You've got time to fix things within your life and your family and do something good with yourself. Yeah, is it scary? Hell yeah, it's scary to know when you're going to die. But the people that they killed, do you think that before they killed him, they said, can you go ahead and pray? I'll wait. Make sure you've been forgiven of your sins. Call your mom, apologize. You know what I mean? I'll wait right here for you because I'm going to kill you here in about 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes
Right.
to make things right with everybody you need to make things right with so you can get to whatever you believe is the next life, right? So when I think about that, I'm just like, in a way, it's such a gift that was not afforded to people that their lives were just taken out
Yeah, just instantly, right.
instantly, and that would have given anything just to call their mom one more time, or
Right.
anything to talk to God one more time before you had to go meet him, So I'm going to pull this up. This was the first, I'm telling you, this one got me. And this is when I decided. And once I really studied what had happened here, I was like, okay, I get it now. I understand the whole process. You guys, this video is going to be about 13 minutes long. I will have to stop it from here to there so that I don't get a copyright on it. Let me scroll my copyright banner. If you don't mind dropping the copyright in chat, I would appreciate it so much. Fair use disclaimer, Copyright Act of 1976 gives allowance for this content to be used for the purposes of criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. All right, so let me go over here. You guys watch your ears because I don't know how loud this is. So watch your ears and adjust your volume.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Evidence Room. This is our third episode, and today we're talking about pickaxe killer Karla Faye Tucker. We're also joined by a special guest, J.C. Mosier. You and I have known each other a very long time. Yeah. J.C. is a retired Houston homicide detective, and he's now a sergeant with the Precinct 1 Constable's Office. And this case was pretty gruesome. This was 1983.
I saw them pictures. I tell you, it seemed like it could have been done later.
It was really unbelievable. It was I'd never seen anything that terrible, and I worked at Homicide Division about 7-8 years and saw a lot of evil things being done, but never anything quite like this.
So you've got Karla Faye Tucker, and I guess what you called her boyfriend, Danny Garrett, at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, goes over to.
They were going together.
Jeffrey Dean's apartment. To what? Why?
were mad at him for something he had done, either something he had said about them or something that he had done to them. And when, as Carla told me, she got so messed up on drugs that night, she just said, I'm going to go over there and kick his ass. When they got in, they did not realize that there was also a young lady who he had brought home that night to his apartment.
That's Deborah Thornton?
Yes, Deborah Thornton.
Was both of them people asleep when y'all went in there? Mm-hmm. Did you wake them up, or they just wake up?
The guy woke up, the girl started waking up. I told her to stick her head under the cover. And she did.
Of course, they rousted them out of bed. And of course, the girl's screaming and pleading for her life. And both of them are. Carla just went crazy. I mean, she just went crazy.
Let me just stop this right here and let you guys know that you need to protect yourself. This can be triggered. This could be triggering in some instances because it was a pretty violent crime. If you cannot handle stuff like this, I totally understand if you want to leave and come back. This was a very, very, very violent crime, and I think they're going to go into it. So, just so you guys know that trigger warning, protect yourself and protect your mental health.
When you went over there, and killed them people, did you go over there to do that?
Doug went over there, up. They didn't know what I was going to do.
But did you have that in your mind?
Probably shot him if we went over there to do it. Had him gun.
We went over there with the intention of the case.
Saw this pickaxe that he used in his business. He was he dug.
He was a cable installer, wasn't
he? Dug phone lines and things, something like that. But he had this big pickaxe laying right there by his bed.
It was a freak thing, man.
We was all
Did y'all take that axe over there? It was already there.
Sitting right beside him.
In the archives, where all the trial exhibits are, what we're calling the evidence room, the pickaxe is still there. I picked it up. That thing is not a light tool.
Not.
Carla Faye couldn't have weighed more than $120.
She didn't, but I'm going to tell you something. The first thing I heard about Carla from her sister was, JC, do not try to fight with her. She can kick any guy's ass and has done it.
Wow. Yeah, because when you pick that thing up, that thing is heavy.
Yeah.
And then when you look, that both Jeffrey and Deborah were hit multiple times with that pickaxe.
Oh,
I can't even imagine the rage.
She ran out of gas finally. She couldn't go any further. Or she would have kept going, but she just finally ran out of gas.
When you talk about evil things that you've seen, I looked at the pictures and the actual CSU video is still there. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The amount, I mean, that's pure rage.
Yeah, that's how actually crazy Carla had become.
Was it the drugs?
Drugs mostly, yeah. She was big into drugs.
Let me stop it right there just a second. When you guys think about, how could this person do this? How could one person kill 2 kids? How can one person kill 4 kids? There's no way they can do it. You guys, yes, they can. They absolutely can. And anger and rage and all. I mean, you can do some serious harm with rage. Serious harm with rage. Now, will you, like he just said, Carla Faye Tucker, she ran out of gas. And that's why she stopped. Yeah, will you run out of gas eventually? Yes. But in the mix of it, listen, one person can absolutely kill 4 people. One person can absolutely kill 2 people. Absolutely. All right, let's keep going.
What did they say about that? Same fingerprints?
No, I seen it in a picture at tape on it. I didn't know if they'd stick the tape or not.
Tape on the stick. We had gloves on.
Well, it's all done. I just tell you the truth, I wish you never would have.
Tape so we
Before, though, you said this wasn't your case. You weren't assigned to it, but you wound up getting knee deep into the case. How did that happen?
One of the guys working the case came over and said, "Hey, we talked to a friend of yours today." And I mean, I know what case they're working, so I'm thinking, what? I said, who are you talking about? Well, Danny Garrett. He said he was a friend of yours. I said, yeah, Danny Garrett. Hell, he's my bartender. He's a real good friend of mine. Yeah, a real good guy. I said, what are y'all talking to him for? Well, he may have some information about the case, and he's got a brother that's also was hanging around Carla a lot, and this and that. And I knew his brother. I knew his brother, Doug. Doug was an ex-motorcycle bandito biker. And I knew him for a while before through Danny's wife, who was the girl that grew up in my neighborhood with me. And he called me and he said, yeah, JC, they came over and woke us up after they had done all this stuff.
This is the brother.
Mm-hmm. Brother.
Wait. So
Doug.
So the brother said Carla and Danny came over after the murders?
Right afterwards, had all the stolen stuff that they stole, some of the parts and things that were there, and told them what happened.
They can't link nothing to nothing.
unless somebody freaks out.
They told me that, they told me in these words, y'all are targets.
Oh, yeah.
They told us that.
How did you get a brother to wear a wire on his brother?
I asked that very question. Are you sure you want to do this to Danny? He said, JC, they will come kill us now. And I have to.
Doug, if they had anything, they already had somebody arrested.
There's one part in there, though, that, I mean, to this day makes me squirm. She said that she basically achieved an orgasm every time she swung the pickaxe and landed
She
it.
told me that.
Do you believe that?
She told me that. I asked her that same question.
Carla,
Yeah.
maybe when you told me that was stroke, was that you, did you? Did you really?
Oh, hell yeah.
So what you guys are listening to is Carla Faye Tucker and her boyfriend had gone to his brother's house after the murders, and the police had wired the brother. And so this is the brother talking to the brother and Carla Faye Tucker about what they had done. And so
And they
Yeah.
didn't suspect that he was wearing a wire though, because he was like, or were they still in the process of like the heightened state and they were telling him about it and he wasn't having to ask questions?
no, I just think they were all so strung out
Right.
out that you could tell by listening to her that she's still high. So this was
Yeah,
a different,
I agree.
this was a different day
Okay.
from the murders.
Oh, all right.
They had left the murder scene, went to the brother's house, told the brother everything that they had done, showed all the stuff that they had stolen from the house. The brother then went to the police and told the police what had happened.
Yeah.
The police
Okay.
asked him, "Hey, do you mind? Will you help us?" And he did. So, but he knew he had to help them because of the way that the type of people Carla Faye Tucker and her boyfriend were, his brother, they would eventually have killed him too. So he needed them, he needed them gone. So he agreed to help the cops. That's just the way that it went.
Right. And they were able to, use that evidence, obviously.
Yes, this tape was used in court. Yeah.
Good.
Well, so how did it go? I want to say this tape was used in court. I'll have to look that up to be sure, because I know that some things are not admissible in court unless they've been given their Miranda rights. But I Don't know
Right.
when that actually came about. So let's just continue on with this and see what happens.
I'm the girl, too. I know you didn't hate her. I wish you could at least just took her out quick and easy.
I tried.
Well, and I told her I didn't believe it.
And she's still stuck with that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Did this to me.
I'm glad to hear you say you're sorry, Carla. I'd hate for you not to be sorry.
We're both sorry.
So they went in, sat in there for an hour and a half, I don't know how long it was. And we were listening on the outside in a big hidden van, and we're listening to everything that was said.
I love you too, Dave. I love the both of you.
I told him, I said, I'm arresting him. Y'all can have the rest of them.
Why?
Because I wanted to.
Did he say anything to you when you're putting the cuffs on
He
him?
sure did. He said, JC, I cannot, as good of friends as we've been, I cannot believe you could think I'm capable of doing something like that. And I said, well, I guess we'll see what happens.
To me, it's like the work of the devil. It's just like the work of the devil. I don't believe I would have ever done anything like that. It's the devil didn't tell you. Probably right.
But when you see those pictures and when you see those bodies, that is unbelievable.
Now, they were both convicted. They were both sentenced to die. But Danny died in jail, right?
They were saying liver failure or something.
One of the things that was still in the exhibit archive were their letters to each other, Carla and Danny's letters to each other. To my darling wife, Carla, may you have a good Valentine's Day. My only wish is that we could be together now and always. I truly believe we will be with each other in the same home again one day, whenever it may be. Please be strong and don't let them give you the death sentence. It seems like these were two individuals who were completely divorced from reality.
And just going with us. There was nothing in this case that wasn't bizarre. You could stack up the report, which is about that high, and on every page you're going to go, something weird's here. You know what I mean? It's the most bizarre thing I've ever been around in my life.
Carla Faye Tucker says religion has prepared her to meet her fate.
No matter what I'm going through right now, I know that the Lord is with me and I'm in his presence.
So she's on death row now, and it's coming up on the execution. Again, only the second woman ever executed in the state of Texas. Last one was during the Civil War.
Yeah.
I knew that I needed to ask for forgiveness. I don't know how I knew that. I just knew that I had to cry out to God, let him know that what I'd done was horrible and that I needed forgiveness.
I invite them to look at the crime scene photos. Let's see how cute they think those are. Because the same person who looks out from that television set with those eyes at them is the same person who looked straight at my wife and threw a pickaxe into her body.
It's hard to explain how you feel when you know you're sending somebody to death. And I think I had about 14 in my career. No other women, though. She would send me a card from time to time, and I would send back a response from time to time. And
what would she send you? I mean, what was she writing to you?
It would be like Christmas, and it'd be some time of the year that was an event or something. Happy Easter, Carla knitted me a beautiful sweater on death row. Even the label, she had her own labels, made with tender, loving care by Carla Faye Tucker. I've never worn it. I wouldn't dare wear it. I've just put it away.
In 1983, Tucker says her heart was changed. That's when she says she accepted Christ.
I don't care how bad it is what you've done. God will meet you right where you're at.
And I tell you, I think that her transition to the love of God was real. Most people tell me, JC, you're an idiot. That's just a show up there. And I just think back to her start in life, how terrible it was, all the terrible things that happened to those two girls, Carla and Carrie. They just almost never had a chance. I mean, they never had a chance like you and I did. They were turned into prostitutes at a young age and were actually working right out of their home. Her mother was a prostitute in her younger days. I do feel sorry for her, not for her crime. I feel sorry for her for what happened to her from the time she was 11 or 12 years old. After that, it was all bad. I think she finally, in her mind, thought, now I have something that I never had back then, God.
How did you feel after she was executed?
Terrible. She wanted me to come, and I said no. But if people ask me, I'll tell them, yeah, it's not something I'm proud of. I was proud of every case I worked, if it was successful. But I don't look at this one with any pride. There's no happiness in this case anywhere.
Well, I'm as hard as it was, I'm glad you came, and I really appreciate it. It's always good seeing you, and I always appreciate your time. So thank you for coming in and doing this.
You bet.
All right. That's it for this.
Wow.
So if you watch that, I mean, and I watched a lot of her interviews and stuff. I mean, I was so conflicted. I was just like,
Well, I mean, that's because we have compassion for people, and
right.
it's hard to believe that. But I mean, there's so many people that have been abused, and had those people not gone through those traumas, they probably would have turned out at least halfway normal. And that's a sad situation because it's not, there's just not enough protection for everybody from everything.
Right. But at what point, so, he said, and you said that, you look at her past and how she was brought up, and I mean, she was set on the wrong road from an early point in her life. So should that negate the death penalty? Should it, because she had such a horrible upbringing and then it ended with her
because
murdering two people, should we take into account her upbringing and what her early life was like before we give it? Should she have had life without parole, maybe?
Well, if you base it off the fact that she still made the choice to be on drugs like that and not go and get help, she could have had a different way she decided to go, but she did it. So there's that too, because she could have had a choice to have gotten help for her trauma instead of trying to erase it with drugs.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I fully agree with that. I mean, we're all given choices, right?
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of people out here, there's probably more people in this world that had a terrible childhood than those
had
that
good
had the good
ones.
one. And they didn't turn into killers, and they didn't
That's
turn
right.
into, so at what point is it used as an excuse? See, for me, that's the part that I was struggling with. Like, I knew that, when I dug into it and all, I was like, oh, but she had such a bad life. And then I thought, wait a minute. Like, my life wasn't all roses and
Right,
chocolate,
exactly.
but I have morals, and I mean, that's just some
people just give up early on, and their hope is diminished, and then evil sets in, and it's like uncontrollable for some people.
Right.
They just go, I don't know what happens, but in my opinion, in a spiritual way, that is the most messed up form of like evil that happens to people. But I feel like the people that get attacked by it the worst are the weak people that are weaker. Like like they're struggling, they have nothing to fight for. It feels like that's when darkness, like it's almost like it waits and looms for those kinds of people, like the victims of it, you know. But
Yeah,
they're
because
still not, but they're only a victim because in a different kind of sense, not the victim that they make a victim, but they're a victim in a different way, and it's more of a spiritual type way. You know what I mean? Like they're literally in the dark. There's
Hi,
no light there.
Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey. Good to see you. So, yeah, I had to consider all of that. And then I just thought, you know what? We're all born with a conscience for the most part. Most people are born with a conscience.
Right.
And most people know right from wrong. Now, do they put things into their bodies that are going to taint their brains and make them make bad decisions? Yeah,
Mhm.
but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be held accountable for those bad
No, exactly.
decisions.
Exactly.
And I just think it's a gift that she was given that much time on death row and she got her life right with her God and with her family and whatever. And I think that was a much nicer gift than what she gave the two people that she murdered.
Right.
Sean says, I've never hit or abused any woman who were in my life. Cavemen hit women. I'm an island boy. I love women. Oh, Sean, good on you. Good on you. Lizzo said, some people have awful lives and upbringings and are tortured with their mental health, but they don't go around unaliving people. Yes.
Right.
Gia says, Carla Faye Tucker and her boyfriend was about to commit robbery, but ended up with murdering two people. Right, Gia, right.
Exactly.
Right.
Something escalated.
Yeah. Just terrible. I'm going to go pee real quick and then I'm going to bring this other thing up that I wanted to show you. Give me just a second. I'll pee fast. I'll push fast.
Okay. Ow. How's everybody doing out there in the early morning hours here, or later in the day for some? I'm getting nervous because the trip's coming up, and we're doing last minute projects trying to get stuff done. We suddenly got a burst of warmer weather. We'll have like 4 days of something in the 40s, and hubby just went and picked up all the vinyl siding for the back, and he's gonna put that on tomorrow, and I'm gonna paint the hallway that I've been putting off forever. So I'm gonna get it done now that everything's completely out of my way, and we just got to tape the ceiling off. So that's what we're working on, and I'm trying to decide if I want to just do a couple part videos and videotape the work we're doing, or if I want to go like do a live and then just, like, because it won't take me more than like 20-30 minutes to paint the hallway. So I'm still thinking about it, but I'll make sure I put a post out there and give you guys a little heads up. I know sometimes I always wonder, is it better to do videos and people can go and watch them, or do the things like some of that stuff on the live? But I know a lot of people that do like DIY stuff, they post it like they put, like, and then they'll fast forward the video and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so fast. I don't want to do it like that. So me and Bigfoot are discussing which way to do it.
Well, good luck to you. I don't think you can go wrong anyway, I guess. I don't know. JK,
Right.
we're talking about it. We're talking about how you doing, JK. All right, I want to bring up this just so this is some death row information, you guys. Here's the history of it. This isn't that long. And then I'm going to show you something else and get your guys' take on it. Death row was in the East Building of the Huntsville unit from 1928 to 1952. From 1952 until 1965, the electric chair was in a building by the east wall of the Huntsville unit. God, the electric chair. I've delved into that. Oh my God, it's my morbid curiosity. I love it. Because, what's his name? Bundy, right? He was electrocuted. The men on death row were removed from Huntsville unit to Ellis unit in 1965. Death row remained at Ellis unit until 1999. In 1999, the TDCJ moved death row to the Polunsky unit. The Polunsky unit houses death row inmates separately in single person cells, which with each cell having a window. Death row inmates are also recreated individually, recreated individually, meaning they don't get to go to the yard with everybody. One by one, they get to go out. See, they're protecting them, fuckers. Inmates on death row receive a regular diet and have access to reading, writing, and legal materials. Depending upon their custody level, some death row inmates may have a radio. The women on death row are housed at the O'Daniel unit. Inmates on death row do not have regular TDCJ ID numbers. They have special death row numbers. Hanging was the means of execution from 1819 to 1923, almost 100 years, you guys. The state of Texas authorized the use of electric chair in 1923 and ordered all executions to be carried out by the state in Huntsville. Prior to 1923, Texas counties were responsible for their own executions. The state of Texas executed its first inmate by electrocution on February the 8th, 1924. Charles Reynolds in Red River County was executed. On the same date, four additional inmates, Ewen Morris, George Washington, Mac Matthews, and Melvin Johnson, were executed. The state of Texas executes brothers on 6 different occasions. So Frank and Lorenzo Noel were executed on July 3rd, 1925. S.A. and Forrest Robbins were executed on April 6, 1926. Oscar and Mac Brown were electrocuted on July 1st, 1936. Roscoe and Henderson Brown were executed on May 6, 1938. Curtis was July 1st, 1993, and Danny on July 30th, 1993, and Harris, both by lethal injection. So they were executed the same month, just 29 days apart. Jesse on September 16th, 1994, and Jose Gutierrez on November 18th, 1999, both by lethal injection. One of the most notorious inmates to be executed was Raymond Hamilton, a member of the Bonnie and Clyde gang. He was sentenced by Walker County and executed on May 10th, 1935 for murder. Hamilton and another man had escaped from death row only to be captured and returned to death row. The state of Texas executed the last inmate, Joseph Johnson, in Harris County by electrocution on July 30th, 1964. A total of 361 inmates were electrocuted in the state of Texas. When capital punishment was declared, cruel and unusual punishment. Sorry, but that whole sentence makes me angry. Cruel and unusual punishment. By the U.S. Supreme Court on June 29, 1972, there were 45 men on death row in Texas and seven in county jails with death sentences. These sentences were commuted to life sentences by the governor of Texas, and death row was cleared by March 1973. In 1973, revision to the Texas Penal Code once again allowed assessment of death penalty and allowed for executions to resume effectively January 1st, 1974. Under the new statute, the first man, number 507, John DeVise, was placed on death row February 15, 1974. DeVise committed suicide July 1st, 1974, by hanging himself with bed sheets. The state of Texas adopted lethal injection by means of execution in 1976 and executed the first inmate by lethal injection on December 7th, 1982. His name was Charlie Brooks, and he was executed for the kidnap and murder of a Fort Worth auto mechanic. Effective January the 12th, 1996, close relatives and friends of the deceased victims were allowed to witness executions. And then they just give different things that you can be, what constitutes capital murder in Texas, California. Lethal injection consists of a single protocol of pentobarbital. That's not true anymore. There's now 3 different, and they use fentanyl, pentobarbital, and I want to say saline are the 3 that are used. And then these are just stats. The shortest time on death row was 252 days, and the longest time on death row was 31 years. Wow. The average age of executed inmates is 39 years old. Wow. So I guess they was born not using their brains either. Hi, Francois. My question is now is if someone was on death row due to committing an act against one of your family members, would you want to go and watch the execution?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I'd be in the front row.
I think it would just make the trauma of the whole thing even worse. Like almost, I don't know.
Oh, not for me. I'd be
I
like,
really don't want to see somebody. I mean, I've watched that kind of stuff. I've seen it on TV and stuff, and that's enough. That it wasn't. Yeah, and there's been ones that went wrong, and like it was insane. Like so crazy happened from like you know what I mean.
yeah,
They've had some events. I don't know if I could handle all that.
I'm going to tell you, if somebody killed one of my kids, I'd be right there front and center and praying something goes wrong, and it takes about 5 times
Well, I'd
to get
rather
them.
be the one to kill him though, not somebody else by an
But
injection.
what's really the difference though? You're watching
Right.
them die. You know what I mean?
don't
Like,
know.
take that, motherfucker. How does that feel? You know what I mean? That's the way that I would feel about it. I'd be right there. I'd be first one in line. I'd be like, excuse me. Yes, I would
Well,
want to
then
watch.
then they
to be
had to
sure
just
the
let the
actors-
families do the injections. Then that way it actually feels more surreal.
Yeah, but then isn't then I
Right.
guess then I mean, because some people say murder's murder, whether the state's
Well,
doing
they
it for
could
you,
run
but then
something out the door and let them push it from the other side of the window still.
I just want to
Right.
go clobber them, beat the hell out of them, and then
Right.
kill them. Lizzo said, I wouldn't want to watch to be sure the act was done. I think so too. Especially in today's world where everybody's like, is that person dead or are they not dead? You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah, that's Lizzo. That's smart. You know, in a lot of places like Jeffrey Dahmer, they don't even tell you who claimed because they take them and they take them to the morgue right afterwards, and then the family or whoever claims their body, and it won't give on it doesn't give a name on the, like, if you're looking through the internet for who claimed Jeffrey's body, it doesn't say, and it doesn't say where he's. A lot of these people that have done these crimes that become internationally famous, they won't tell you where they're buried. And that's probably because people aren't done being pissed off and they're going to go tear up their graves.
Right.
And
Right.
let's just be real. There are people out there that these guys become heroes to, right?
Exactly.
They killed someone, so all of a sudden they've got a following now, right? Just like with Papa Rogers or Elliot Rogers, who was an incel, right? All these different groups of incels, they think he was a god. He was correct in his manifesto. And I think that is definitely Brian Koberger. There are people that if he's put to death, he'll in the incel community, he'll be like a god. It's really sad.
Wow. Right.
So, let me show this really quick and then, but I'm curious, you guys put into chat if you do believe in the death penalty. If you don't believe in the death penalty, you're welcome to disagree with me. I'm just curious as to your, I'm curious as, what your reason, the only thing is, I guess I'm curious as to what your reasoning, why you don't believe in the death penalty. And if you would still feel that way if it was a close family member of yours. How would you feel about it? And do they have death penalties over in your, Lizzo, do you guys have the death penalty? Do they have the death penalty over in Australia too? Jeffrey, you do believe in it? I do too. All right, let's share this real quick. Make sure we're all big over here.
Just, I mean, what's the point? Like you were saying earlier, what's the point in wasting taxpayers' money, which we all know is very much going on these days, on somebody that's done something so horrific? They should go out of the world and be done with it. And then that's just, it's over, like closure there, right? You still have trauma, but you've got some closure because that person's not still stalking the earth or gonna, I mean, they could still kill somebody in the prison. They're still evil. You know what I mean? Most of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Including
Listen,
they have killed prison guards and all sorts of people.
That's
Rapes
exactly
and
right.
murders. Let me
Listen,
not forget about that.
I think we should do something really good with Epstein Island. I think we should send no, I'm serious about this, you guys. I think we should send all of these hardened criminals, like the ones that there's no way we're going to rehabilitate them, and they're just using my money to eat. I want them all sent to an island. And then I want guns and knives and machetes dropped from an airplane down on the island. The last man standing gets a steak, and then I'm going to kill him.
Right.
That's exactly how I feel about it. So if we got overcrowding of prisons, let me there. I can fix the problem. Trump, right. Trump, are you listening? Put me over the judicial system. I got it. I know how this works.
I used to say all the time that I wish they'd just take all the nasty, horrific people and put them on an island away from everybody else. Because why should everybody else have to suffer for let them go kill each other? And then you say that. That's hilarious. I've never heard anybody else say that.
Oh, I love and I believe in prison justice. I love it. Because I'm really hoping that, and he will. They're gonna kill Richard Allen, you guys. Do not be surprised when that comes out, because what Becky Patty said, see, like there was a gag order on that, right? So there was a lot of speculation and shit that was, let me just tell you guys this real quick. Listen to me. Listen to me. So you got all these crazy YouTubers talking about how Alan didn't kill these girls, blah blah. He's railroaded, and the Odinists are the ones that did it, and blah blah blah. And I've always said to you guys, Odinism is they're a hate group. They don't like other nationalities, right? So the last people an Odinist would go and kill is a white little girl. It just won't happen, right? Becky Patty said a couple things the other night, and I was like, yeah, I knew this shit would come out. Remember when the pictures were released of the girls the crime pictures that were released. Now, do you think those are the only crime pictures that were taken? No, there was hundreds of pictures taken of the bodies and where they were at, and every little piece before the bodies were moved out of there, right? The only pictures that were released were the ones that were showing the theory of Odinism, the branches, right? So whenever the defense put out that, oh, this is an Odinist thing, this is Richard Allen's being railroaded, what pictures were leaked? The ones that made everybody think, you're right, it's the Odinist. Y'all, come on.
Right.
Come on now. That's why I always say when I'm talking about these cases, y'all, we got to think better than this. I'm not going to be a sheep and follow YouTubers because they have a thought on it. No, I'm going to create my own thoughts off of facts, not off of what other YouTubers are saying. That's crazy. But if you guys have not watched, Becky Patty's done 2 interviews so far. You guys, you will be amazed to listen to her and what all happened that they weren't allowed to talk about. It's ridiculous. Same shit going on in Idaho right now. Same shit. I'm telling you, when it all comes out, we're going to be like, oh, shit, that makes sense. All right, let's get back to this real quick. Do I not have the sound on? The hell's the sound? Oh.
So I was at the Idaho Maximum
Hold
Security.
on. Let me rewind this a little bit. Let me stop
So I was at
this
the Idaho
right here.
Maximum Security Institution
Bitch.
today.
Because I want people to, let me see if I can make this bigger. Is that bigger on your guys' screen? It is. Okay, cool. So, right, in our rooms that we execute people on, this is kind of what it looks like. It's probably a little different for every room and such. There's windows on this side and the chairs facing this way. And then there's also windows on this side over here, if you could see my cursor. And they face each other, right? But and on one side is like the accused family or whoever the accused wants to be there, their priest, their lawyer, their friend, their mentor, their whoever, right? And then on the other side, like on this side, let's just say that it would be people from the victim's family, their priests, their lawyers, and things like that. So they're not put together, because you could imagine what would happen there if families and stuff were put together in the same room. And then this is much like what the bed looks like that they're put on to be injected. They are strapped down and then they're given a medication that sedates them slowly. And then I think they are given some, either right after that, they are given the one that stops their heart and then the saline, or the saline first and then the one that stops their heart. And then after a few minutes, then the doctor comes out and pronounces, checks on them, checks for a pulse, checks for any signs of life, and they are pronounced dead. And then the curtains are drawn, these shades, curtains, whatever, are drawn. And then a hearse comes and picks them up and drives them away. So that's how that happens.
So I was at the Idaho Maximum Security Institution today to witness the planned execution of Thomas Eugene Creech. He is somebody who is considered a serial killer. He's been convicted of 5 murders in 3 different states. when they first brought Mr. Creech into the execution room, he turned his head to look at his family members who were in a separate witness room. And he appeared to mouth to them, "I'm sorry, and I loved you." He was strapped to the table, but he would occasionally lift his hands, his fingers to wave or stretch out toward that window and his family there. They tried multiple times to insert an IV line. They had earlier in the day, the medical team had established 8 possible spots to insert an IV. And they tried each of those spots over the next hour, in the crook of his arm, in his hand, the same with the other arm, and then in his legs near his ankles. All of those attempts failed. So 8 attempts in all. They were all unsuccessful. When the warden announced that the execution had been halted, he looked over again at his family in the witness room and sort of waved his hand at them and then closed his eyes and shook his head. It appeared to be a little bit rueful.
All right, so this is, let me read that to you guys in case you can't see it. Idaho officials say they're not sure what the next steps will be. Creech's attorneys filed a motion in federal court to stop another execution attempt. The 73-year-old was in prison in 1974 and has been convicted of 5 murders in 3 states and suspected of several more. So what had happened here, you guys, and I don't know how you feel about this. What had happened here was, so he went to the chambers, the death chambers, right? And, you know, they opened the curtains and his family was there and stuff. Well, during that time, for an hour, you guys, they tried to find a vein. They couldn't find a vein. So you only have a time limit, right? This is strictly like you've got time limits. If that person isn't dead within the time limit, it has to be stopped. And that's what happened. They could not find a vein on him. And so therefore they couldn't kill him. And so it was halted. And a lot of people, and that's what Ann Taylor, Brian Kohberger's lawyer, brought to the table whenever she was filing motions that he should come, that they should not seek the death penalty on him, because Idaho has stopped intravenously killing people. They brought back the firing squad. They said, if anybody comes up for death, you know, we've got means to kill them, you know, right on. That's the way that I feel. And so she said, and then he said, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Creech, but that we did not stop the death penalty. We had to make a halt on giving the injections because there are problems. Well, when you're in front of a firing squad, that's pretty, I mean, you're going to die. You're going to die. So that's why I'm saying, I mean, they brought it back. And that's why I'm saying that Brian Kohberger absolutely could be the first to get that, the firing squad. Man, I wish I was pulling the trigger. Lulu says, I think the U.S. is the only country in the Western world to have the death penalty, isn't it? I know many Asian and Arab countries have it. We in New Zealand don't have it. Can't think of any other country in Europe that does. Does Russia or Romania maybe? I'm not sure. Could pull it up and look. But yes, Arab nations definitely have it. Let's find out what countries... All right. China, the world's leading executioner. Though the true number of executions is unknown because this data is classified. And then there's Iran. In 2022, Amnesty International recorded at least 576 executions. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Japan, Indonesia, so many, Botswana, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, Iraq, Belize, North Korea. Yeah, so I think you're right. Yeah. So what says you? If a guy, say, this guy, it takes them an hour. They can't get a vein in him. They halt the killing. Was that enough punishment?
No.
Should he just be put on death row? He's already 70, what did they say, 73 years old. At that point, should we just halt it altogether and give him life without parole? Death penalty should turn into lifetime imprisonment for only those criminals who are truly sorry for what they did. So, Gia, do you not believe in the death penalty at all? Gia says we have the same laws in my country where murder gets executed by hanging. I will never go visit a country that has the death penalty apart from the USA. All the countries' criminal justice systems are corrupt. Bali is a perfect example. It is scary. It is scary that you can be just taken off the street somewhere.
Yeah.
For doing something you
your own
don't even
people.
know. Yeah, and
By
not
your
even
own damn
know,
people.
and not know that you're actually committing a crime. Especially like when you go overseas or whatever. I mean, y'all, I'm sure I'd be committing a crime all the time when I say fuck. I mean, they're gonna kill me for saying fuck.
I know
because
I want to go to Cancun, and I think the Mexican government might be mad at Trump a little bit. So I might wait a while.
they're pissed off at us still.
I'm gonna wait. I'm not going over there when anybody's mad. I'm not stupid.
Oh, Lizzo. Yeah, that's good. Lizzo says, but how do you determine if they're really sorry or not? They could be pretending.
Well, you
they're
have to be the
sorry.
right kind of person that can actually intellectually connect to that way of understanding somebody. Not everybody can do that. So it does take a specific kind of a person to be able to actually figure that out with someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are good at that. And
But there's
and
a lot
so-
of manipulative people. I mean, my mom was a great manipulator of men. So were all of the painted ladies. There's just some really good manipulators in this world. I mean,
I think they're starting to lose their abilities, though. That's the way I'm seeing things are becoming unmasked more. So that's a good thing.
yeah, I think so. I think people are definitely
Persona is coming unglued. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Gia says, Lisa Montgomery, her crime is quite mind-boggling, but she became a criminal mind because of her childhood trauma and the results. She ended up in committing murder of a pregnant woman. Wow. And Gia can't tell her country by name. That's okay. Yeah, you know what? I truly don't want to be the person that's being given the job to go in and see if people are really sorry for their crimes. Cause I'd be like, Carla Faye Tucker's crying in there, you guys. She loves Jesus. Let's give her another chance. Yeah, I'd be terrible. I'm very gullible. I'm easy to want to see the good. So I'm telling you, I would not be good at that job at all, having to determine I just tend to believe them. But if I know that these are bad people, you're not going to convince me that they're good people. And I can be a hard ass on that, But man, I you know a lot about crime, Gia. Maybe she's into it. Maybe she's maybe she's an investigator. God. My husband told me, he's like, you definitely missed your call. And I was like, yeah, because I was busy having your guys' kids.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think I should have gone down that road too, because I see the darndest things. Like, my husband never sees things that I always see. Like, just like the weirdest little things, you know what I mean? So I know that if I was put in that same perspective into like investigating, I'd be the one that would be finding shit people didn't see.
Mm.
Because nobody ever sees, I don't know, it's just like little things that, you know, like a piece of wood in the laundry room that's slightly had shifted, and nobody else would normally see that. Normally, I wouldn't even be looking at it. But the other day, I was like, is that for real? You know how you ask yourself, am I really seeing something like that?
Hmm.
And then I had to have him verify it because he's taller than me. And it was true. And I said, you never noticed that? And he goes, no. And he's tall, but he never looks up, I guess.
I could switch the fucking living room around and my husband wouldn't notice. Okay. Serious.
Right?
I could cut my hair from here to there and he would not notice. So a man doesn't notice Jack or Jill. It just
Right.
doesn't happen. They notice their recliner and where the remote control. I say that a lot. My husband's not lazy though, but he would not know. He will be. It's because I switch the living room around all the time. He don't remember what it looked like last week. He has no clue. He knows he's seen it like that before, just can't remember when. So he's not saying a word, not a word. Yeah. Terrible. I could see that. I think for me, I was gifted with a lot of common sense. I'm not very book smart. I'll be the first one to say that. I'm not very book smart. Not because I couldn't be, just because I'm lazy, to tell you the truth. But common sense, and I'm not a conspiracist. So I don't automatically think who's out to get me. Someone's out.
Right. Me neither.
I just see black and white for what it is, and there could be some gray areas, and you have to shift through the gray areas and not, you know what I mean? And and so
I take on things like a problem solving thing, you know, like how like Trump does. I think that way too. Like, what makes sense? And you know, I'm not going to go down a ridiculous road because it annoys me when other people do it. So why would I do it myself? That's the way I think about it. And then it's just like, figure things out. I like to figure things out. I like to problem solve things. So I know I would have loved to investigate cases because I've always been interested in crime stuff, just figuring out how they figure out who did what. You know, I've always been fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Especially when sometimes you know that they're wrong completely, or you've got it figured out before they've gotten to it, you know, and you're like, it's taking you this long to get there. You know what I mean?
Watching some movies, he'll Beefcake will ask me, come in here and watch this movie. It's a great movie. Or I've heard good reviews about it, and I'll sit down and I'm not kidding you. 30 minutes into him, like, that guy killed him. He's like, how do you know? I was like, I'm telling you, that guy killed him. And I'm like, I'm done. Let me know what happens. And 9 times out of 10, I'm right.
You're so funny because I do that too. But my husband don't like really pay a lot of attention, but I'll sometimes predict something when it's gonna happen. Yeah, and he doesn't do that. He waits for the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I'm trying to figure that shit out. Really.
And they try to
sometimes
trick you,
I'm wrong.
And I caught onto it.
Yeah, sometimes I'm wrong, but not a lot. I was like, I could see through. I said, just like you people talk about my Hallmark movies, that at the end, someone's getting kissed and they're gonna fall in love. It always happens.
I used to love those.
I still watch them. I got hooked a couple weeks ago back on the LMNs.
Right.
Lifetime for Women movies, the thrillers. Oh my God, I could not quit watching them. I go through periods and then I just stop again. I've already stopped.
Right.
I've already stopped.
I like survival type stuff where people have overcome something and it's a true event, like a true story that actually happened. I like a lot of those. See how people like deal with things like home invasions and being lost in this desert or just, whatever their situation is, how they survive. And I find those to be interesting.
I get that.
It's kind of exciting to, like, what are they going to do? What would you do if that was you? And that's, I don't know.
Hold on just a second. Let me look this up.
Everybody's giving me a hard time about the plane, ordeals lately. And I said, it's
what's
just
going on?
It's just a little more chaotic, but I think that there's a lot of that little stuff, the smaller stuff that's been going on that happens, and it's being more talked about now because there was that major one that hadn't, it'd been a while, and then it was just like boom, you know what I mean? And now it's just like boom, 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 all this stuff's happening. I don't know, it's getting weird, but I'm not concerned about it in that context. But I will give you guys my wing number if you want to follow me.
I'll follow it. I'll get online and follow you guys.
And the girls, I told them that. I said, it'll be okay. And they're like, I don't want to see somebody crash into the desert. I'm like, oh, thanks. That was nice. I'm like, no, we'll be okay.
I wanted to see what happened to that guy, Eugene Creech, after they botched his death sentence in February of 2024. It says medical professionals tried 8 times to insert an IV line into Creech's veins to administer the lethal injection drugs. They were unable to access his veins or had concerns about their quality. Their quality? Won't give a damn about stick it in him. The execution was halted after over an hour. Creech was returned to his cell. Subsequent developments were a federal district court issued a stay of execution to allow more time to consider Creech's legal claims.
Oh, wow.
So fucked up. Creech's attorney asked the court to bar the death penalty. Creech's attorney said that he had significant mental health issues because of the trauma he experienced. Oh, so the family, we don't care about their trauma of his victim. Okay, I got it. Additional details. Creech was a serial killer and had been in prison for more than 50 years. Damn!
Oh my gosh.
He already lived his life.
So long.
Just give him a shot in the arm. Let him die
so long. Why can't they just do it within a certain short period of time? Why has it got to be so long? That's just stupid. I've never understood the waiting. What are they waiting for?
A clue.
To put more food out?
He was convicted of 5 murders in 3 states and suspected in several more. He suffers from type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and edema, and these conditions could impact your circulation and vein quality. Yeah, that's why I would have just given him a shot and said, good luck to you, pal. Lay here. It'll be over in an hour or 2. It's fine. Whenever you feel like something's happening, it is.
Take it out and swallow something. There's medications you could swallow and help.
I mean, let him drink bleach.
Oh,
Here, drink this. I just looked up Find a Grave to Carla Faye Tucker's obit. The flowers are turned off, rightly so. Yeah, because people actually get stupid and they hail these people, It's ridiculous. Just want you to know I'm here. Been listening. Have to go sleep. Love you. Love you too, Diamond Lucidity. Good to see you. Gia says Lisa Montgomery was SA'd by her stepdad and her mom, and stepdad used her as a token of payment for the house services her parents used to force her to do that things. Oh, Well, please tell me the parents got sent to prison too.
Right.
Wow, that's crazy. Cray. How about JK asks me if we're going to do true crime, and then the bastard leaves? JK, you're getting your ass kicked. Joyce! Hello, sister. Hello, my sister. So when are you guys going, and where are you guys going? I forgot. Forgive me.
We're leaving this coming Saturday, and we'll be in Vegas for 3 nights and 4 days, and then we'll be in Laughlin for the other 3 nights.
Oh. What are you
So
doing
we're
in
gonna do.
Laughlin?
Well, we'll stay down there along the Colorado River, and then go out to Oatman and some other places. We're gonna look at some properties out there.
Oh. So y'all moving? You checking out?
Eventually, but just kind of want to check it out. I've been looking for certain ones in a certain area, and they're starting to come open. Except for they're like some of them will be like something you could like buy on payments, and some of them will be like cash only. But none of them are over 5,000 because you can set like your limit of what you want to pay.
I was watching something. Where was it? Oh, I have to remember, but it was out, and I was watching you know that show where they're house hunters or whatever, they're trying to find you houses. Well,
Right.
this one was dedicated to people who wanted to live small. And there was
Off-grid.
it in Texas or Arizona? It was, or New Mexico. It was somewhere out there. And the state was, if you bought the small house that they had on there, the state was, if you lived on that property, I think it was 2 acres, and it was of nothing. I mean, literally, a tumbleweed wouldn't even come by. There was nothing.
Right.
But if you lived out there for 2 years, then the state would give you, I think they said 10 more acres for free.
Well, Iowa did something like that, or they might still have the program. And there were certain cities, small towns, that were doing initiatives like that, giving you free land basically for coming and living and growing their communities.
Uh-huh.
And so I've heard of that, but not out there. I haven't, but I definitely heard of that.
I know in West Virginia, I remember a couple years back, because Beefcake knows that that's my second place I want to live. I want to live in Vermont first, and then yeah, but they were given like families like $5,000 or something to move to West Virginia a couple years back.
Wow. I would do something like that. But I wouldn't, like, if it's not somewhere where I want to be full time, I'd kind of like this, like, we want to start like splitting our time slowly.
Yeah.
So like doing winters, and because I can't stand winter, and then and basically it kind of works for the job he has right now, because they're like on downtime, so they're laid off for a short time, but that would be during the time it's the coldest here, so that'd be a good time to leave, you know?
Yeah. Well,
and totally off grid. That's what we want to do, because we want to save money. That way we can sell this house and go out and build something out there. But we're just gonna go out there at some point, find a piece of land that's kind of in a nice area with nice mountain views, because that's kind of what I'm looking for, something away from everything. And then just get a little RV and put out there temporarily, like that's what we do in the meantime.
In the meantime,
actually, we're buying one tomorrow, a cheap one, an older one.
Oh, are you?
It's in really good shape, and like we went and looked at it, and he wants $1,300 for it, but I'm gonna see if he'll take 1,000. But he's throwing in the expensive like kit that like stabilizes the camper when you go down the road. That's like a $400 extra cost that we would have had to pay for. So I think I'm gonna give him an extra 100 at least. So, but yeah, we're doing that tomorrow, and then there's a spot up here we have to park it, because they don't let you park it in your yard.
Yeah.
So we have to start getting the overflow. They got like, what do they call it? Open storage or whatever. It's like $35 a month. So at
Oh,
least
that's
it's
not
close
bad.
enough to, right. Cause I'm like, I want it to be here so we can get to it, so we can get in there and clean it up and do some
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah,
Is it a
we were
fifth
kind of like,
wheel?
I didn't know if I wanted to do it, but that's too good of a price to not do it. And if we fix it up for like $1,000 of stuff that like we could do that make it look amazing, we can flip it for like 5 or something, you know, and then
Yeah.
go out there and buy a nicer one.
Is it a
It's a
fifth wheel?
Coachman. No, it's a 26-foot pull behind. It's a Coachman, and and those are really nice ones. Even it's an 80s. I think it's an 86, but it was like you can tell by what's in it and the way that it's held, held up, that it was a good quality camper in its day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's the good thing about it. We're gonna update it a bit, inside,
Yeah.
and put some rubber coating, like do the roof, so we don't have to
Yeah.
ever worry about leaking or anything. But yeah, they took good care of it, and it's been stored inside. So I'm like, oh my God, now it's going to be sitting outside, but it'll be okay.
We can get one of those covers for it.
Yeah, I bought one for my sons, and we put that over it. And I told my husband, I said, well, yeah, we're going to have to, I mean, it's still cheaper to do that and pay $35 a month than have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have to worry about it. But it was cold when we went in, and of course nothing was running in there, but it was cold. I was like, oh my God. You know how cold it is when it's cold outside and you go in somewhere that hasn't had any heat in it. But yeah, he's got brand new tires on it, and it's got an electric hitch. It's really nice. And so it's something that can definitely like be made to look really amazing at some point, with some paint and some updated windows, things like that, I've already plotted the whole thing. I'm the kind of person, as I'm looking at something, I'm plotting in my mind. Is this something I want to spend money on? Is it going to be cheap enough, but still look nice? Like, how can I do it? And really the only thing that needs fixed is like the ceiling, because over time, like the paper, whatever that shit is that's on the ceilings and those things, pulls down. And so we're just going to put wood, a nice like wood, like interlocking wood across the top, like, you can either do it in single pieces, but I think in that we'll probably just do panels of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's not expensive at all to do that. But it's nice because it's got the end bathroom. You know how most of them have the bathroom in a corner off to the side and you don't have much space at all? This one's at the end of it. So you've got almost a full shower.
Nice.
And then the toilets in the middle, and over to the side, they actually have like storage closets with like shelves. And so it's really not bad the way they have the bathroom set up, and it's got a pocket door back there, so you don't have big doors swinging out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
And then it's got the bunks in the middle. And at the old style, they had those things that, look like cabinets, but you could fold them down on top of a bracket and it's another bunk.
Right.
So that's how it's set up. Although I don't think anybody very heavy could get up on one of those, but I don't know. So
one day
it's
I'm
a
gonna
very
get
decent
one
shape,
of them.
I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but we decided to do it, and the truck's going into the shop tomorrow so we can get it fixed and get the ball hitch on it, because it just has the kit, but it doesn't have. We have never put the ball on it because we didn't have anything to pull anyway. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So we got to do a few things, but
that sounds fun.
Right, a project. I'm like you. I get projects in my head, and they go rampant. Look, you got to see my cart on Amazon, girl. I have like shopped for every single thing I thought if I want to do or put in that thing. It's all on a long cart.
Girl, I'm a go getter. Once I have it in my brain, I'm there.
Right.
I'm there.
My husband gets overwhelmed because I'll be sitting here talking to him smoking, and I'm like, I get excited about something, and I'm like, oh my God, we could do this, and he's like, oh my gosh. I know that's what he's saying, even though he don't say it.
Yeah. No, I just, so I've got 2 more projects coming. All I've got left in the hallway is just the brushwork. I've already done all the rolling. It's all finished. Just got to do the brushwork, but I've been busy this past week. I haven't been able to get back to it. So I got to finish that up. Once that's done, I told Beefcake I'm going to need his help I want to put beadboard up over the tile backsplash. I
Yeah.
just like that look better.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take down the tile because it's not my tile. I'll be selling this bitch.
Right,
And then I have this great, beautiful thought in my head as to what Baby Chow's room will look like. I want to paint it yellow, not like a big like that kind of yellow, but like a soft yellow.
I know what kind of yellow you're talking about. My daughter painted her room that color, and I first thought it was like yellow, and then when it went on the wall, it was very, very like, I don't want to say pastel, but it was very soft.
Yeah, like a
And it wasn't.
flatter.
It didn't like blow your eyeballs out. It was very.
Yeah.
It was nice. I could deal with it.
And
Yeah.
I want to put eyelet curtains in there. He's gonna just freak out. I don't really see him even moving in here after he gets out of college, so I don't know. But I want eyelet curtains in there, and I want a quilt with blues, little tiny flowers of blues and yellows on a white background. That's what I see in my head. And then I walk in the room and I'm reminded that it's never going to look like what's in my head because there's that big ass, stupid ass racing machine in there nobody here uses. And for some reason, we can't sell it. It's annoying. It's annoying. Because you don't, that would look so cute with some white, damn it, why can't I think? Because I'm staring at these things I just made. With some like the furniture I have on my back, white wicker furniture. Oh my god, it'd be so pretty. Hello, lunch lady.
It sounds like you're describing the ultimate guest bedroom and not something that, because my son, when he lived with me for a little while from like 18 to 20, he moved out and then moved back in, and I did an entire remodel in the basement and made him the most amazing room. And it was okay for a while, but then he started wanting to move things around. And I said, dude, I had this all figured out for you. Right. And I don't know. He was something else. He was a pain in my butt. I had had it all decked out for him though. Like everything was brand new. I had redone everything. And it was just amazing. And then he didn't take very good care of stuff. Let's just say that. I mean, there was at least one chair I had to replace during that time. I had a little gaming area set up for him and a guest, in the TV and his game game system and all that crap. And then over on the other side of the basement, I had, because it was where his bed was going to sit, I had it long ways so that he had all that space in between, right? And I put this, it was so silly, but it was $1 at a Dollar Tree, and it was one of those plastic paper or tablecloths, right? But it was a neat, it was like fish or dolphins. It was something really neat. And I thought, man, I'm gonna fucking put tacks up there and tack that on the ceiling, so when he's laying there, he's not looking at the pipes up in the ceiling of the basement, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did all this. I put rope lights all the way around it in red, blue, white ones, because it was kind of like a, I don't know, sea theme. It was, red, white, and blue colors.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really nice, and he didn't take very good care of stuff. He broke a lot of stuff, and it irritated the hell out of me.
I bet.
Over time, No,
I don't want it for a guest room. I really just want it for my room. Now, I love painting. I love changing stuff. My problem is that I get too familiar. Once it starts feeling familiar to me, something's got to go. Something's got to change.
Right, and that's what that hallway's been doing to me for a long time. I've wanted to go in there, and then I just came up with one day. I'm like, they have really neat wainscot now, and you could buy the full panel piece of it and cut them down, because I wanted something a little taller than the average. And that's when I got that idea for the hallway, because I said it's just such a long wall, and even when I had pictures on it, it looked weird because it was you know what I mean? It was just awkward looking, and I'd sit and look at it and go, that's got to change. And plus it's the hallway, and that's a lot of wear and tear with people going up and down. So you want like something extra on your drywall. I mean, that's why I'm trying to do it, to kind of give it some support too, because we got textured walls and the kids bumping up against it. I'm not going to sit and paint that shit all the time.
Right.
And the dogs and everything. So I just came up with that as an idea.
And
in my
it's
head,
not
it
that
looks
expensive.
amazing.
Yeah. It's
My
not that
husband-
expensive though.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, I think we figured out it'll be under 100 for the 3 sheets for that, and then you got to put a trim piece on top, because it's an open edge at the top. But he went to the store and messengered me, and did the whole video chat thing, and was trying to show me all these sheets, and I was about to lose my mind. The camera was moving all over the place. I'm like, oh wow. So yeah, he was like, well, you can't use this kind because you'd have to turn it this way. I said, let's not discuss that. Let's just pick between 2.
Well,
we'll figure out.
Is that what you're doing in the hallway?
Yeah, so I'm going to repaint the top section, right? And then we're going to put the wainscot on the bottom. And it's pretty cool. We picked out one that's like that, where it's all the different shades of wood, but it's stacked really unique. So we're going with something kind of wild and crazy like that. That's sturdy though, because that was my thing. I didn't want anything real smooth, and I would never put like the stuff you'd put in a house where you have the white squares. That's what you put in a real fancier and older, and different kind of place than this. So, and it needs to kind of blend into the living room area, right? Because everything is kind of close quarters in here. So we just decided to go with that. And I said, just buy the full sheet, dude, and cut it down, because if you buy just Wayne's, it's not the way you run the parallel. You don't want something that's that short, because we're trying to get it up higher on the wall, if that makes sense.
So are you doing the whole wall or just partial?
No, just the bottom part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the top, I'll just repaint it. And
what color are you doing it?
Right now I have this jalapeno tango, and it's a really nice green. It's really the way you described the yellow. It's really they call it jalapeno, but it's definitely not as dark as a jalapeno. It's more of a, I don't even know, but I loved the color. It was between that and guacamole.
I wish I had the guacamole right now.
I'm pretty sure you were. I'm pretty sure you were on with me that one day. Maybe. Oh no, you weren't. You were on there for a minute, but then you had to go when we were going through and looking at stuff. Remember?
You like really bold colors.
Come on. Can you see that? It's not too bold. I mean,
that's pretty.
And then I have this is Kona stain on pine. So yeah, I went with that with the whole safari and jungle stuff going on in this damn thing. I thought the green was kind of a nice backdrop to it. To give you more the illusion you're out in the woods.
I just want the illusion that I'm calm. Everything's calm.
Right. Yeah, I have different parts of the world in my house. It's just the themes. Everything that's not available here is in my house.
Well, I used to have a different themed room every room, and now I can't do it. Now I'm throw themes right on out. I just want calm.
Right. Well, I know when we redid both the kids' rooms that I decided they were getting older, so we weren't going to go with Batman and what LOLs and all that stuff. We weren't going to be buying all that. I did what was that she was into? I can't remember now. What's that girl's name with the ponytail with the bows? JoJo Siwa.
Oh God,
she was into that, and so when we did her room, painted it pink because she wanted to pink. We did all that, and then when she got older, I redid the room, and we just picked some really solid, pretty colors, and we just said, this will work for you for the rest of your life until you leave. So, they're going to have to be changed again.
Gia said that she's seen an elephant on your wall and it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's a metal elephant, kind of like a copper color, and then it has like a, when you know how like in Africa they put those big rug things over their backs, like they deck out the elephants in some of the tribes out there. So it has like that thing on there with the colors. But I love those. I found them
You have
years
a
ago.
lot of print.
Yeah,
You have a lot of print, right? You have like, don't you have like giraffe print or zebra print or something? What kind of print do you have?
Yeah, it's all safari type animals like zebra, leopards, all kinds of.
Yeah, if you look on her channel, she's got a live where she actually goes through her. How did I just get muted?
I don't know. I muted myself because the dog started barking, and then I heard you cut out too. It's like, what the hell?
Anyway, Gia, she has a live on her channel, Wild Angels channel, where she goes room by room in her house, and she loves bright, bold colors and animals and jungle and under the sea and all of it, all the stuff. It's really cool looking. And she did it all herself.
I love doing it. It's rewarding. I don't know. What else can you do when you're at the house more than you're out of the house? I have to do something.
I feel like I feel like I got too much stuff, but I don't really. I don't. I just feel like I got to take one thing off the calendar yesterday. You have no idea how that feels. When my daughter told me we went to eat after her husband's retirement from the military ceremony, and we were eating, and she's like, "Oh, Mom," she said, I don't need you to come over on next Friday night to keep Emmett because I waited too long to buy the tickets. They were going to see this comedian, and she said, I waited too long to buy the tickets, and she said, they're like tripled in price. And I was like, no offense, but thank God. And then she just started laughing. She's like, you didn't want to come over and hang out. And I was like, no, it's not that. But I mean, little girl has got to be, I mean, my daughter lives like an hour and a half from me. I would have had to drove all the way back over here, get little girl, then drive 45 minutes to my sister's house. So she didn't know little girl was in heat, but I wasn't going to tell her because I had already committed, so I didn't want her knowing while I'll be driving all over the freaking place. So I told her after she told me she didn't need me anymore. She's like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, cause I already made plans. I'm going to keep my commitments. I just have to work what I need to do around it. So I was so thankful to come home. Actually, that was yesterday. I came home yesterday afterwards, and I walked straight up to the calendar and erased that off the calendar because I feel like I've just been so busy. I can't stop. These kids, they call me, they put shit on the calendar. Beefcakes put shit on the calendar. Everybody's putting shit on the calendar. Little Newt was the what do you call it? The mascot animal for the fraternity this year, because my son was the president. So they always take the president's animal and he gets to go to different events and stuff. So Newt's been to the frat house and just loves everybody. Well, they're having their composite made taken on Thursday. So Newt goes in for his professional pictures on Thursday to be added to the composite for the year. So I've got to find a way to get him, which he isn't hard to bathe. He doesn't like it, but he listens to everything I say. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm out in the garage smoking now. Anyway, so I have so much going on this week, and
I know
I keep saying next month will be better, but I've been saying that since last summer. Next month is going to be easier. I'm going to slow down.
We can't go on this trip until we get these projects done, and we've waited way too long to get them done. And so he's got the siding. He's going to work on that. I'm going to hit the hallway and we're going to get it done because I'll feel better late going that we've gotten some things accomplished before we leave.
Who stays with your animals when you guys go?
So a friend of mine is going to come up here and he's retired and he's going to stay here with them for the week. And then I'm paying him to stay here. And
Nice.
and yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about him a long time ago when Corey couldn't go on other trips because we didn't really have anybody to watch him. And I don't want to have to go take him to one of those places because it's expensive and you have to get all of them a special shot just to be able to be boarded. So I just they're better off at home, especially when you're gone, because then they don't I feel like they don't miss you quite as bad because they're familiar with their environment.
Right.
Instead of being locked in a room. And I just didn't like that when we did it once. I didn't like it. I was worried the whole time. I was calling the place, girl, and trying to get check-ins like they were kids.
Yeah. There's this one really cool place here that is like a doggy daycare. And you can put the app on your phone and watch your dog the whole day.
Well, no, that would make me feel better.
Yeah. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I think all daycares should be like that. I think all schools should be like that.
I do too. Honestly, I
follow
do
your
too.
kid around.
Right.
in the
And if
school.
your kid knew that you were watching them or could see them, they would do a lot less stupid crap too. Watch.
That's right. That may end the bullying altogether.
Right. It'd be like, I dare you to look up at me and say something rude to somebody.
I'm watching you, you little brat. No, I really do. I think that there should be apps on the phone that parents can dig into and watch their kids.
Well, yeah, and then people wouldn't be abusing people because they know they're being watched. See,
Why not?
or at least you would hope they wouldn't be that stupid anyway.
Gosh, maybe I should bring that to Congress.
Yeah, let's go and do
I
that.
have really great ideas. Fucking Trump, listen to
I
me,
do
dude.
too. I want to know if hey, let's see if we can write to him and see if he'll invite us to Mar-a-Lago for lunch or something. Sometime we can.
I
shoot
want to
some
go to the
ideas
White
out.
House. I'm not going to Florida. It's too hot down there. I don't give a damn about Florida.
You want to go to the White House?
Yeah. I've been to
guess
the White
that's
House, but I want to go in the White
I've
House.
never got to go, so I would like that too. That's cool.
I love
Right.
it. You know, there's
But I think there's a lot of people that bug him when he's there, though. So I thought at home he'd be able to listen better.
no, I'm glad the first time I went to the White House, I took my mom with us. My mom was a big history buff. That's where I get all my American history love from. And you're basically standing on the street and they've got this fence around it and you can't go beyond the fence or whatever. But you can stand out there all hours of the day, night, whatever, right? And police are out there and every so many feet there's an officer out there. And I looked across the street. Nobody drives up and down that street except for the president. And there's a tent, literally a tent with a couple of blankets like over a shopping cart or whatever. Because it's against the law. You can protest, but you're not allowed to protest at the White House, right? But there's protesting signs there in front of that tent about war, like stop the wars and stuff. And I was
Right.
like, wait a second. I knew enough about history to know you're not allowed to do that in front of the White House. And so I asked my mom about it. And she said, honey, she said, when that law was created, she said, now this was a public road. People used to drive up and down this road all the time. And she said, and then when they realized it just was too close to our president, they closed the road and those people were grandfathered in. That's because they used to be able to picket the White House right in front of it on the street.
Right.
And she said, when that law came into effect, those people were there. So they had to be grandfathered in to that law. And the law is that tent has to be manned 24 hours a day. If it's left within so many hours that the police can take it down and it'll be over with. But it's been there since Vietnam. And somebody's always been into it, been in the, slept every night there. I need to look it up and see if it's still there. But every
Wow.
time I've gone back, I always look over at that tent and wonder. You could tell they've got a TV in there. They got, but could you imagine living in that tent when it's freaking below zero? And
No.
they have a choice. You can either leave it and we're taking it down and then it's over, or stay in it, and that's what they do. It's all wrapped in plastic. I'll see if I can, since I go back in there, I'll see if I can pull up a picture of it, but it's really cool. But I wouldn't have known. Well, I would have probably asked an officer, but my mom was able to tell me all that. And she showed me the Queen's window and told me about the Queen's bedroom there and how it's always got a light on in the bedroom, just as a gesture to England, that,
Right.
but I think it's changed now that I don't remember what president had done it. I think it's changed now that the light's only on if the Queen is not there or is there. I think it's when she's not there, the light's on. Because of course, I mean, if she's there and the light's still in the window and she's trying to sleep,
Right.
But it's cool. I want to go inside. It's just that, they tours just back up so bad about it. And I'm getting arrested because I'm going down hallways. I'm slipping into shit. I'm going to find the Queen's bedroom and Lincoln's bedroom, and I'm taking a nap.
Right.
Let me see if I can find that really quick. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate it so much. Do me a favor, hit the like. That's all I ask you to do. Just hit the like. Okay. When was that done? Let's see. Trying to find one that's the. Okay. Here we go. There we go. All right. Let me bring that up. Take this off so we can see. Wait. So it's called the Peace Vigil. Let me see. It's big. Okay. Okay. So you could see kind of what it goes from different things to different things, but it's always something political, like war's not the answer. There's no plan B, things like that. Okay, on a typical day in Lafayette Square, the park directly across from the White House, a visitor will inevitably come across tourists, commuters, and musicians. In all likelihood, they'll come across Filippo's Malacu Bello too. That dude and other local activists cooperate to maintain the 24-hour White House Peace Vigil, an anti-war protest site that has protested nearly continuously for 14,930 days as of publication. And this was publicated April 29th, 2022. Since June 3rd, 1981, so that's during Ronald Reagan's presidency. Since June 3rd, 1981, protesters have kept the vigil going through the rain and shine and blizzards and hurricanes. Today, the vigil carries on in the form of a singular black tent surrounded by anti-nuclear war and human pro-rights posters, a display that attacks a global audience. I think that this is an effective place where we're sharing our commentary with more of the public, he said. It's more effective for you when you want world peace, not only peace in your country, but peace in your hood. Right on, dude. The vigil began in 1981 when William Thomas, an anti-war activist who traveled the world protesting nuclear proliferation, stationed himself in the park with the sign reading, "Wanted, Wisdom and Honesty." Other activists soon joined him, including Conception Connie Picato, something, Ellen Benjamin, who later became Ellen Thomas when she married William, and paradically this dude who's got it right now. At the time, he, who was born in Brazil, had already lived in Ethiopia, England, South Africa, and parts of the U.S. He was touring with his band, Antichrist Youth Brigade, and several shows were canceled. Began volunteering his time with Thomas. He's been protesting ever since. His LinkedIn reflects this involvement. He's a self-described professor of antichristic and revolutionary studies at Occupy University. Occupy is the reference to the Wall Street movement. Through the 80s and 90s, the Thomases and Piquioto, whatever, that lady, were primarily responsible for keeping the vigil running as the older activist health began to deteriorate. However, this dude picked up the torch and took on larger role in maintaining it. Following a brief break after William Thomas's death in 2009, he returned with the 2011 Occupy Wall Street movement. Today, the demands of the vigil practically make it a full-time job, as he who resides in Virginia and works in language interpretation was at the vigil for most of the day last Saturday, as well as from 7:30 a.m. to Sunday until 6 a.m. Monday morning. That don't make any sense. Most of the day last Saturday, as well as from 7:30 a.m. Sunday to 6 a.m. Monday morning. Okay. He has shifts Monday through Friday from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. and longer shifts on the weekends. But that's very short. That's a very short week for me, he said. In the past, he consistently took on daily 17-hour shifts. His motivation to endure long, late hours through violent storms and bitter cold, a love for all humans regardless of nationality, and a desire to share his message and historical observations with others, he said. With liberty and justice for all, there has to be liberty and justice for all, he said. You always have to be ready for the revolution. I want a peaceful revolution, but not everybody does. So there's only one solution, and that's education. While the modest White House peace vigil does not command an enormous crowd or participation numbers in a way that other large-scale DC protests tend to, it reflects a more intimate community of care, activist stamina, and love for humanity. I love you, he said. I love the little girl in Bangladesh I never met. I love the little boy in Botswana I've never met. Human rights violations are reality on this planet. I want to eradicate them. Even with the vigil's message of universal love and unconventional movement has been without its challenges. National Park Services police, DC police, and park rangers regulate demonstrations within the district and have at times harassed or even destroyed portions of the vigil. In 2013, the vigil was briefly taken down after the person on shift abandoned their post. Members of the Peace Vigil community quickly returned to the vigil to its former state. Despite the dangers and challenges associated with manning a 24-hour protest site, this dude is patient in holding profound conversations about history, ideology, and peace with anyone who stops by. At times, he offers guests folding chairs or invites them into the tent for discussions. It is an enduring dedication of those within the community of volunteers who keep the protests going. Today, the continuous operation of the vigil requires the efforts of dozens of people, including an activist named Amina Peaceful Washington, another named Lucy Murphy, and another activist affectionately referred to as Spawn of Satan, along with many others. After years of tirelessly protesting in front of the president, The community maintaining the vigil is practically family. She's my sister, he said of Murphy. While Murphy does not take shifts herself, she has been visiting the Virgil since the early 80s. She often stops by with meals, supplies, and companionship for whoever is on shift. After 3 decades, she sees the vigil as important and necessary still. The future of the vigil, however, will require a new generation of support since the younger occupying activists have left the movement. That guy said, I can't pronounce his name, you guys, I'm not even going to try, said that he is as old as dirt. Legally, he's 60, and most of the other volunteers are also older. After nearly 21 years on the front lines, the need for the drive and energy of younger activists is felt by this guy. We're all aging activists. We're waiting for your generation. Your generation's cool when there's something to rally behind, he said, referring to the well-attended but short-lived demonstrations that have taken place in D.C. after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. They'll come out for the rally, but the rally is an hour and a half. Michael Beers, who has been supporting the vigil for most of the last 3 decades, noticed that this is a dedication that will be essential to the future continuation of the protest. What they really need most are people to stay the nights, basically. Technically, we're not allowed to sleep here. We're supposed to stay awake. While the original protest featured signs almost exclusively about nuclear war, today's vigil is adorned with Black Lives Matters poster, anti-death penalty signs, maps of Palestinian loss of land, flowers and flags, and more. For Beers, the vigil is as essential now as it was the day it began. This originally started as an anti-nuclear weapons vigil. The core message of anti-nukes is still here, and I feel that it's very important, he said. It's extremely dangerous right now with Russia and Ukraine. We've got to act strongly as citizens of the world to get rid of these things. The vigil's power comes from its 24/7 commitment to speaking out for peace. No matter where and when, the Peace Vigil is the longest living vigil for peace in the country that is consistently at war. It is a constant reminder to people that visit the White House that we need peace. That is that. I wanted to see if they had images. They do. I see that. Okay, let me see. So, yeah, so this is right here looking at their tent into the White House. So basically, everybody that comes and visits the White House, they're like looking over here at this stuff. And it has taken a change. I think it looks something more like that when I was there. And so you see these fences and stuff, like at nighttime, they have this big black fence up, but when I was there, they also had a chain link fence up. I don't know what was going on at the time, but we couldn't even get near the black fence.
Oh, wow.
So, because of the chain link fence, but some people climbed that fence and have gotten in. Yeah, so it was you can no longer protest across the street, but this one was grandfathered in because it was there when the law was set, I guess. That's what my
Right.
mom told me. I think it's kind of cool. I do think eventually it'll go away because it is a different generation, and they don't want to spend all day and all night out there.
Right.
Let's check in with everybody. Everybody good? Lunch lady, you working today? Still working and lurking. Hey, Jake. Good to see you. I'm glad you're working, buddy. My country's a little messed up, but I have to stick to my country no matter what. I can't go anywhere like others go Wow, to other countries. Wow. Sorry to hear that, Gia. Lizzo, oh, you getting ready to roll out, girl? Did all the snow melt there yet, lunch lady? I'm fixing to call this one a night. I'm tired. 3.5 hours is long enough to listen to my mouth. Now I'll be silent for the rest of the damn day. Lizzo, you've lived in a lot of places. You've been blessed, girl. All right. You know what? I think I'm going to close this one down, you guys. I'm tired. I think I want to go back to bed. Wild Angel, thank you for coming up. I appreciate it so much.
Yep. Nice visiting with you, hon.
You too. Take care of yourself and get your chores done before you get on that airplane.
I'm doing it.
All right. I love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys. That's it for another one of these here. Thank you for being here with me. If you haven't hit the like, please hit it on your way out. That's all I ever ask of anybody. Thank you to the mods for keeping chat safe, welcoming, and warm for everybody. And thank you for those that hang out in chat. Because without you guys, I don't have a channel. So I appreciate you so much. Y'all have a good day. Be good or be good at it. If you can't be good at it, you know what to do. Send me some video because I need content. Love you guys. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.
Big hug.